Hello, hello. How are we doing today, chat? Good afternoon. We have a, I guess, potentially depressing sort of thing. Um, yes, Chase, I agree. The debate was cancer. I agree. Um, I mean, it was kind of fun too. I will probably talk to that guy again. Although if I do it again, it's going to be in my server because I don't want random people just coming in. I mean, most of the people were fine, but that Dispel guy really like ruined the entire thing. I think Zonia's contributions were good, but yeah, like Dispel just came in and derailed the whole thing. When he basically should have just come in and said, "Hey, Ash, you're a Nazi," and then pieced out, because that's very obviously all that he cared about and all that he wanted to do. Um, but yeah. Anyway, so I got into an argument on Reddit a few days ago with some random dude who made the claim that there were no rapes in on October 7th, not even one. And this particular person glazed Norman Finkelstein to an extent that I thought was kind of ridiculous. Um, saying that he was an awesome historian and all this other really dumb stuff. And he did not seem to agree with my assertion that the majority of the majority of like wartime sexual assaults that occur are basically the way the evidence that we have for them is pretty much just always eyewitness testimony and like maybe the aftermath of the scene or whatever, but like people do not go in and do forensic data collection or any of that shit because that's not really how this works. um and yeah, so I thought that what I would do is I would actually like look through this, and I was going to take 3 examples. Uh I just wanted to look at the reports and see what kind of evidence they actually used when it came to how it was that they determined sexual violence. So obviously, trigger warning, because this shit is very depressing. Um, Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not like an expert on any of these particular topics. Well, okay, I mean, I won't call myself an expert. I know more about Srebrenica than I do like the Rwandan genocide or Srebrenica. What I know about Srebrenica is mostly what Loner Box has talked about. And if I recall correctly, he used, he used this. I think it was the McBride Commission. This is their report here, which I found courtesy of the wonderful website known as Sci-Hub. And I believe they talk about it in here. I don't know how like widespread rapes were within Sabra and Shatila, but I know that there were at least some examples of them happening. And the same thing that occurred with them there was most of what we heard about from October 7th, which was that the evidence after the fact was that they would find the women naked from the waist down with their legs spread, and that would be their assumption that would be made. I'm assuming here that a lot in this case, a lot of the women were probably killed in this particular instance. In Rwanda, that was not so much the case. In Rwanda, they actually found that rape was used as a weapon of genocide, or part of genocide against the Tutsi people. So that was something. And then obviously we have Sabra and Shatila, which I think is more akin to October 7th. And then the last one will be Srebrenica, which uh, I do know a little bit more about. And there were lots of rapes there too, which were this was very clearly something that this was a really big, a really sort of long and chaotic thing. I don't know if there's going to be a specific section in here about the actual rapes. I actually was going to go through this article because that the death of Yugoslavia did not talk about the did not it talked about Srebrenica in quite a lot of detail, but not like it didn't give like a play-by-play of it, obviously, because it was at the beginning of the last episode and they had a bunch of other stuff to cover. And it also wouldn't be surprising to me, like, that documentary was also filmed like a year after the end of the Bosnian War, and that was before we necessarily knew everything, and it was certainly before any of the perpetrators got tried for it, especially since a lot of the perpetrators appeared in that documentary and gave interviews, and they basically admitted to all the bad shit that they did because they never thought they were going to get in trouble for it. Norm, David Irving is a great historian. Finkelstein. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I mean, it's also crazy to me that people think, like, this guy thought that Norman Finkelstein was a historian. Like, he said that. He proclaimed this proudly, which I thought was very ridiculous. Oh, there it is. Rape during the Bosnian War. I mean, like, yeah, it's insane to me that people would deny this. Like, rape has long been a pretty normal thing in war. It's a thing that occurs in war quite a lot, unless your army is disciplined enough to not do it. And in a lot of these cases, that they're just not. It is something that since time immemorial has occurred, which obviously is very sad and not good. But so, like, this idea that it's literally just believe all women unless they're Jewish. Thanks for covering IP in a way that's fair and balanced. People don't listen to Jewish creators like Eris and Loner when they talk about it. Loner is not a Jewish creator. I mean, I feel like people would, the people that I'm fighting back against would dismiss me the same way that they dismiss Loner, honestly. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to mostly my goal here, or like my general overall goal, is to fight back against extremism on all sides of the political spectrum and populism, because I hate populism. Oh, good papers on Wartime SA. Well, thank you, Encello. I see you're not, well, obviously it's better to link stuff here. Honestly, I'm actually tempted to make a stream chat in Discord and have everybody use that instead, so that we can actually have emotes. Papers on Wartime SA. But okay, thank you. Oh, good. Most of these look like they are PDFs. Yeah, I don't know how much actual reading, but so mainly what I'm looking for here is I want to know what standard of evidence that they used. And I mean, hell, not even just that, because that with Rwanda, there were people that were convicted of using rape as a weapon of as like a form of genocide at the International Criminal Tribunal that they had set up for Rwanda. And so I would be curious to know what like the standard of evidence was that they had. But because obviously, like, rape is generally pretty difficult to convict, and yeah, so it thousands of women and girls suffered rape and sexual abuse and other forms of torture, according to testimony from, oh yes, also please pray for me as I attempt to pronounce any of these names, which is not, I can't do it. So, all right, yeah. So, like, there's these are all testimonies. A lot of these testimonies, too, by the way, are not like they might be from other people. Oh, can you translate Slavic names, Shane Socks? You can tell me how to say it, and then watch as I continue to fail to be able to say it, because that's always something that happens. Okay, so let's see. We have, oh, also, oh, this kind of ruins it, because chat, oh Jesus, I'm not even, you guys can't even see my screen. feel like chat is going to wreck everything here. My chat's not that busy, so you know what I might do? We are going to you can just I can just turn chat off. Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, yeah, I could, but I feel like Chase really likes the chat, having the chat on the screen. I mean, I don't know, like, I'm not even sure there's much point in having the chat on the screen, to be honest with you. I mean, sometimes there is, but especially considering, like, for the VOD. But yeah, you know what? Because this is a research stream, I am going to do that because I just want, whoops. Okay. So I'm just going to use Chat GPT here. I think I'm just going to dictate to it because my wrists are fucked, and if I type too much, I will hurt myself. Oh yeah, chat is fun for debates. I agree. This is indeed true. So let's see here. So we're gonna have oh, my cat's running around like a maniac. Yay. So we're gonna have Srebrenica. Wow, did I actually spell that right? Sabra and Shatila and Rwandan genocide. Just turn off the cat? I can't turn off the cat. That's not fair. What? Why do you think that I could turn him off? He's a bit crazy. I can't turn him off. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can hear him in the background, but he's that actually sounds helpful. Oh, today ChatGPT helped me write a police report for my mother's solar panels all being stolen. Wait, really? I mean, okay. I guess as long as you like fact check it or whatever, then or like I guess honestly, ChatGPT has actually been incredibly helpful. I actually used it to what did I use it for here? I used it to make notes on my Death of Yugoslavia viewing. Like I basically just went through and this is what I dictated to it. My notes were considerably more detailed than the notes that that ChatGPT spat out at the end, but I still have my notes, right? Sometimes I had to do this but the reason like the text to speech or the speech to text that ChatGPT has is better than any that I have ever used. And I have used ChatGPT or I have used lots of speech to text. Yeah. Oh yeah, it does make stuff up. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I usually almost ask it to like I will almost always ask for um like for it to give me the sources if it's not just me dictating and using it to make notes, which is something that I do quite often. Otherwise, yeah, I will usually ask it like, but it's a glorified Google scraper. It has also on a couple of occasions been really good at finding things that are in other languages for me. Like I'll ask it to search for Hebrew stuff. But yeah. Yeah, I had to change a few things, messed up a few things, like changing the solar charger color, inverter, different things. Yeah, sometimes it'll do that. But you know, like obviously like it still has quite a ways to go, but it's quite good. I'm quite pleased with like how good it is. Okay, so I think we'll start here. Srebrenica has a bunch of stuff. Yeah. So I'm sure you guys were, I don't know if I want to, I probably will not tell the entire story behind because it's a lot. But I mean, Srebrenica was basically the culmination of it was a city that the UN had designated as a safe area in Bosnia during the Bosnian War, where the Serbs were essentially attempting to um, establish a like greater Serbia. Kalinda learns the Hebrew alphabet stream when no, not right now. That's gonna be a while. That's gonna be such a while. Stop it, okay? I have like such bad ADHD and it is so hard for me to get motivated to do things. That will not be something that will be happening for a bit, okay? I need to learn German before I can do any of this other stuff that y'all are talking about. So anyway, so basically, yeah, in the 1990s, there was the whole breakup of Yugoslavia, and that is what we have with Sabra and or with Srebrenica, where hello, Insomniac, stop, all of you, stop. Hello, are you here to distract me too? What the fuck? Circumcision when? Heavy, you are so weird. When are you getting your non-existent dick circumcised? No. So I saw Ryan again on MR. Wait, Ryan went on MR? Wait, which Ryan? Which Ryan? Are you talking about Ryan Grimm? My cat has already been snipped. He is neutered. He was neutered when he was about 6 or 7 months old, and then he ran around like a maniac. Oh boy, Chase, what did Ryan Grimm talk about on Majority Report? Was it him bitching about the Democrats or him like talking about Israel again? Or both? Jewish Mossad cat. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I just like I said, I understand. Chase, listen, I don't understand you. I don't understand how it's been like 2 or 3 years. I don't know when you joined this community, um, but it feels like ever since I started becoming active in it, your main contribution is to ask me or Loner to react to lefty rage bait that's always just the same shit. Like there's a reason that was the point of the bingo card. And I don't understand how you are not sick of watching these people yet because it's just the same talking points over and over and over again. I mean, yeah, it used to be Vosh, but then it was other people. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I just don't understand. I mean, it took me a while to get sick of that stuff, and I'm still open to debating it, but I feel like reacting to it is just at this point I've sort of reached the point where it's just boring. It's so boring. Like, yeah, the bingo card joke exists for a reason. And I don't understand how you're not sick of it yet, Chase. Like how you still want that to be content where all we do, where we're like, we just react. Why can't Kalinda get a Mossad wife too? Hey, listen, I would happily take a Mossad wife, okay? Those IDF girls are quite nice. Oh. Head scritches? I got he got some new food and he's very happy about it. We are talking about chat. Oh, you mean Chase? Speaking of what? Yes, Chase is still here. Do you see his full? No, I did not watch his full video on the ADL. I watched about the first 5 minutes of it and then I turned it off because it's just the same shit. I told you, it's the same shit. If I watch those videos, if I ever watch one of those videos ever again, not only are we going to do the bingo card, but we're also going to do the predict it game. The predict what they're about to say, because that I could literally write like an LLM that spits out exactly the same responses. Like somebody, I could write a bot, a Twitter bot that replies to you in the same manner that Vosh or any of these other lefty people would when talking about Israel or the ADL or any of this stuff. Ethnostate. Yeah, it's always the same crap. Ethnostate, comparison to Nazis, settler colonialism. They're doing genocide, free Palestine. Israel is the oppressor. The Palestinians need to rise up by any means necessary. It's all the same shit. Nah, Chase is not. Chase isn't actually like Vosh anymore, Abby. I think he just wants us to respond to these people, but I don't understand why he's not. I don't know. I don't know how he's not sick of it yet. Cause like I didn't think that I would get sick of it, but I am. I'm pretty tired of it at this point. And I understand why Loner doesn't care enough to react to it anymore. Yeah, exactly, Chase. That's what I mean. Like it's literally just rage bait. I don't it's not worth it. It's just a waste of time. Especially since someone like Vosh will never have an argument about any of this. Anyway. Okay. It's autism time. Greenblatt lamenting Jewish miscegenation is pretty bad. I mean, if he actually did that, yeah, that is really bad. And like, it's not really surprising that, because I know that there's like a segment of people in Israel who do that. It's autism time, chat. I'm actually not using Obsidian, although I did get it, but I don't know. It's just, I don't want to pay for it because I'm already paying for Google Drive. And I feel like why not? I might as well just use Google Docs. Even though Obsidian is not that expensive. But still. I just, yeah, I don't know. Off topic, this winter is going to be rough. Fully already got first snow yesterday. Yeah, it's snowing here too. I was out in it earlier and I hate it. Jace has invested too much time from when he liked Vosh memorizing lore and is hit with sunk cost. Yeah, apparently. I don't know. I mean, like, it's fine if people want to watch Vosh. Like, I don't care that much. It's just, it's a waste of time to talk about these people who are never going to engage back. And yeah, it's just, there's not much point unless they specifically touch something. Here we have a heat stroke. Yeah, that's because that you guys are awesome and you live in a place where it is always warm and sunny, and I hate you. Okay? I hate you. Why can't we have that here? I hate winter. Okay. So obviously there was rape during the Bosnian War, but so it looks like, at least under Wikipedia here, we have witness testimony. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. There's currently snow outside and it's like minus 10 degrees Celsius. It's cold. Um, Chetniks? Who are the Chetniks? Anyway, I'm getting way too distracted. You guys are distracting me. Oh. Sometimes used as a derogatory term for Serbian nationalists. Oh, okay. 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 Yeah, so like I was saying, this town called Srebrenica, hello TRC. Well, it was like a city basically. But in Bosnia, it was a place where a lot of the people who were victims of ethnic cleansing ran away to when they were kicked out of their villages or towns by the Serb nationalist army that was going through there, and they were being supplied by Slobodan Milosevic in Serbia, or in Yugoslavia rather, because he basically at that point had control over what was left of Yugoslavia, which was it was Montenegro, and Serbia, and then and Kosovo, because Kosovo was an autonomous province in Serbia. And then there was another one that I can't remember the name. It was like Vojvodina or something. That was another one. We talked about you the other day. Oh, you guys are talking about Avi. Okay, yeah. I'm not. I am not going to play Europa Universalis 5. Although I might play Asian Mythology because I enjoyed that game. Also, at some point, I'm sure that maybe we'll have talks on Discord or whatever. But I'm trying to. This was a mistake. This was a mistake. Okay. The service began at a certain. Okay, so we have witness testimonies from this guy about the rapes in the Srebrenica massacre. Because basically, what happened is that Srebrenica was supposed to be an area that was supposed to be safe from the Serbs, and they had actually surrounded it. But they didn't take it. They basically stayed out of the town. There was a whole bunch of back and forth between them and the UN, essentially. And the UN got the defenders of Srebrenica, the Bosnians who were in there, to agree to disarm in exchange for in exchange for the Serbs not going in there. So that was like something that occurred, and then they and the UN stayed in there, and it was the UN General Philippe Million who basically promised that Srebrenica was under the protection of the UN, which of course the UN did not back up, because instead of making it a safe haven, they made it a safe area, meaning that they would deter attack against it, but they wouldn't actually defend it if it was attacked, meaning that they wouldn't do anything. Gelatinous Rube, this is actually a great explanation for why y'all usually dismiss critiques on the basis of them being made before. I would get sick of it too. Wait, what are you doing here, Ash? Is there something that you want? Or is there something that, or are you just tuning in? Maybe I should try E5. Yeah. I haven't really played any of the what are they called, Paradox games. Those games aren't usually my thing, but yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, everybody knew that the town was doomed, and basically the UN just kind of left it out to dry, and eventually the Serbs took it. And when they took it, a lot of the people who were there to defend it basically left, and they escaped into a nearby forest, and they were like in a line of people, it's here in the Wikipedia, the column of Bosniak men, and the Serbs basically were hunting them down to attack them. And yeah, so like in this massacre, the Serbs went into this town and they started massacring the men. They they put people, the idea was is that they were supposed is that everyone was supposed to be able to leave on trains, and they lied. I think it was Radovan Karadzic who did it. No, it was Mladic. Ratko Mladic. He was the general of the Bosnian army. He was a real piece of work. Um, and he basically went in, or he went to where the UN were, where they were stationed, where a lot of people were running away to, because the UN had a presence in the town. And he went in and he said, like, don't worry, we're not going to hurt anybody. Anybody who wants to leave is going to be able to leave. And they had put people on trains, but I mean, it was only the women who ended up being deported and not the men. And because they killed the men. And yeah, it was like a big, they basically hunted people down and they murdered them. And later on, they found that this was an act of genocide, because the idea was that they were essentially, like, they killed the men and then they raped the women in order to, like, basically bring about the destruction of Bosniaks, or Bosnian Muslims as a group, because the Serbs thought that the Bosnian Muslims were, like, barbarians and monsters who would kill them. Um, Tuning in, walking Caddo Lake Trails right now. Oh, okay. All right. You're just here listening. I mean, I'm just doing research into a very grim subject, because people like to deny the sexual assaults on October 7th. And so I decided that I would do research into other wartime conflicts to see what the standard of evidence was. Because for some reason, when Jewish women get raped, all of a sudden it's Pixar, it didn't happen, or I need to see the Hamas rape tapes, or we need forensic evidence, which is evidence that is not demanded in any other instances of wartime sexual assaults, which pisses me off a great deal, because it's fucking stupid. And, like, you don't need, there are so many, it's so frustrating. There's so many better ways to attack Israel. Also, by the way, Ash, I think that I think that if your main criticism if your main problem with Israel or whatever is the United States funding them, and that you don't actually care that much about, like, Israel or the Israel-Palestine conflict, then I think, like, maybe you probably shouldn't be running defense for people like Tucker Carlson. It would probably be better if you were to just say, hey, I don't think that that's any of America's business and we should get out. I think that that's a much more fine argument to make. I don't agree with it in terms of, like, America, but it sounds like you just don't want the US to be the world's policeman. And if you want to make that argument, you can. You can do that without people accusing you of being anti-Semitic, except for the most crazy people. And that's also a better argument than going on about AIPAC and pointing to, like, some weird outsized influence that Israel has, or any of this other stuff. Ash literally doesn't care about a single thing outside of US borders. I mean, if that's the case, that's fine. You can totally say that. Just make that argument instead of, like, running defense for Tucker Carlson, who himself runs defense for and glazes Holocaust deniers like Daryl Cooper and Nick Fuentes. I linked ICTY document which convicted of Wartime SA if they help. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to look for that. Oh, so you linked the court documents? Was that one of the ones here? Was it the ICRC one? Which one of these links is it? Okay. So far we have, where does this come from? Writ of summons, District Judge, The Hague. Okay, so this is from trials. What is this? Had to pull off Clanker because I couldn't find my notes. That's fine. The Clanker is helpful. I listen, Ash, like that's something we can talk about later, but no, I don't think that is Tucker's whole argument. When Tucker has Daryl Cooper on his show and glazes him as like a really good historian, even though he's not actually a historian, and then lets Daryl Cooper ramble on about how Churchill was the chief villain of World War II and the Nazis didn't actually want to kill a whole bunch of people, but it just wound up happening because they were ill prepared when they invaded the Soviet Union, and then they ended up putting a bunch of people in camps and they couldn't take care of them and then they died. Like, no, that's not. He's just doing Holocaust denial, and like Tucker does not in any way push back against this. Like, I'm sorry, but even if it doesn't necessarily come from a plate, like, I don't know if Tucker is himself an anti-Semite or not, but he sure as hell is basically covering for them. And also he absolutely did glaze Russia and Putin in that in like during his trip to Moscow. And I really like, in fact, Tucker's glazing of Russia is to a point where I'm pretty sure, like, it would not surprise me if it came out that he is getting some number of rubles deposited into his bank account every time he says something nice about Putin, because he does it a lot. Oh. What? Is this it? Can I not? We can argue about Daryl some other time. Wait, do you actually like Daryl Cooper? Really? Were you just like pretending to not know anything about World War II? Because like I have documents, like primary sources that disprove all that dumb shit that Daryl Cooper said. Tucker would get paid in Trump coin. I would argue that it's almost treason. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, Tucker Carlson just hates America. And he spends all of his time, like, running cover for America's enemies. Russia in particular. And, like, his whole defense of Russia is basically, like, Russia's awesome because they're not woke and gay. And then some other bullshit about this notion that leaders in America let food prices get really high whilst acting like food prices in Russia are actually really low when they're not, because Russians still pay a substantial portion of their income for food every month. But he basically just went there and lied to his audience about this. The Serbs began at a certain point to take girls and young women out of the group of refugees. They were raped. The rapes often took place under the eyes of others, and sometimes even under the eyes of children and the mother. A Dutch soldier stood by, and he simply looked around with a Walkman on his head. I will make the same argument regarding AIPAC the next time we chat. I don't care about AIPAC. I don't understand why. Like, it's so stupid. It's fine for Tucker to say all of these things, but that doesn't, but like, I can still make the argument that he hates America. Because, like, goddamn, at least Israel's a democracy. And so is Ukraine, which is one of the reasons why I support them, because they've been unjustly invaded by a country that is anti all of the values that you claim to care about. And therefore, I think it's good for America to help them. Okay, well, I'm glad that you're not a Cooper fan. I would hope that you would be mad about the fact that Tucker Carlson platformed that guy and glazes him as a good historian when he is not. And Dave Smith does the same shit, too. Although, I feel like, I don't know if Dave Smith does it maliciously. I think Dave Smith is just an idiot. No, Chase, I don't think that Ash cares about Azov. He told me that he thinks that Ukraine is justified. No, he's not going to come on Discord. I'm getting distracted. You guys are distracting me. This was a mistake. Research streams were a mistake. I feel like I'm not going to do any research here because you guys are literally like, I hate all of you. A Dutch soldier stood by simply with a Walkman. He did not react. Okay, yeah, so these are witness testimonies. Very grim witness testimonies. The real research is the friends we made along the way. God damn it. Well, you know what? At least Encello made, I linked the ICTY document. Yeah, which one of your links is the ICTY document, Encello? Or do I need to open all of the, you know what? I'll just open all of them. Fuck it. Is it this one? Conflict-related sexual violence. It's okay. I just wanted to know which one it was. Yes, there was mass rape in Rwanda, Chase. That was another one that I was going to look at. I did a little bit of reading about that the other day. That was calculated and intentional, and they did not kill the women afterwards. The purpose of that was part of their intention to like destroy the Tutsis as a group by getting the women pregnant and killing the men. Cam into you yelling at chat like a real streamer. Yeah, to humiliate the women. Yeah. And obviously in the aftermath of that, a lot of the women had to deal with, like, there was so much shame with that. And there were a whole bunch of babies came into you yelling at chat. Yes. Hello, Toby. There was a bunch of babies that were born during it. So that was a little bit different. I think Sabra and Shatila is probably the closest one to October 7th because that a lot of the women who were raped were killed. Which is usually what happens typically in these cases, unless there was a specific instance. But I think that the other ones are notable because that they they were done purposefully, like they weaponized it, and because that they resulted and it resulted in convictions. Like these people were convicted, not necessarily like the individuals who did it, but it was recognized enough that it happened so that like it was something that people were convicted of doing as part of their genocide convictions. Wait. Oh, okay. ICTY. Oh, I don't think that was in the original link. Oh boy. Okay. Trial judgment. Is this for a particular? Oh, it's for Christic. Okay. Yeah, this was one of the guys who was convicted. Actually, I think some of these guys, they actually, their genocide or like the genocide conviction itself was overturned or like on appeal. Like I don't think they didn't get Milosevic for genocide. But I mean, they did get Kardovic and Mladic for it. Do these same people require evidence for rapes of Palestinians by the ADF? Oh, that's another one I should look into. And no, of course they don't. Also, it's so stupid because even if listen, here's what would happen if they were given this. If let's say that like instead of Zaka, let's say it was a team of like actual like forensic police investigators who went to these sites after October 7th, okay? And they collected necessary forensic evidence before burying the bodies. And then like they came out with reports and they actually did autopsies and all this stuff. Like they found the Jews that they knew were not super religious after they were identified by their families, and they got permissions from the families to do autopsies, and then they did them, and they came to the conclusions, yes, these women were raped. Do you think that it would be good enough for the people who are denying it? No, of course it wouldn't. They do the same thing that they do to the person who did the autopsy of the Bibas twins and determined that they were strangled. They would say, oh, it's fake because they're Israeli. You know, like it just didn't. So, I mean, I don't know why they're asking for that because it wouldn't matter. Because they would just say that it was just lies. I thought Milosevic died waiting for awaiting trial still. He did, although I think that I think it was appealed, or like he was going, there was like a bunch of appeals, because he was definitely like, he was serving his prison sentence. I know that, I think he was sentenced, and then like there were appeals and stuff. Hold on. Let's see what the Wikipedia has to say. Extremely important 3-minute vid and suggestions, not a distraction at all. This is absolutely a distraction. Please stop. I am not going to watch. Maybe I'll watch your meme later, but Wokepedia, yes. Wikipedia is fine. I just am going to be very unsure about using it for anything related to, it's not cats. If it was cats, then you might have gotten me, but, okay, hold on. Trial at The Hague. I mean, there was a posthumous verdict, so yeah, he was indicted in 1999. So he was charged with genocide, complicity in genocide, deportation, murder, persecutions on political, racial, or religious grounds, inhumane acts. Because I mean, like, really, you could argue that his actions essentially that he was the catalyst. Well, he himself wasn't the catalyst, but that he enabled all of the things that allowed the genocide in Bosnia to start, and that allowed like the war that eventually led to the breakup of Yugoslavia, because he was the one who went to Kosovo and essentially helped inflamed ethnic tensions there, and he was the one who rose up because that Serb people loved him and he won their admiration. They called him Sloba and they chanted his name in the streets and stuff. And because he was giving funding, he was giving like money and funding and men, just not officially, to Kardovic and Mladic in Bosnia, in order to allow them to fight back against the Bosniaks. And he also did and he also like provided the same help and support in Croatia as well to the Serbs who were trying to break away there in Kanin, which was the town where they started off, because in Croatia, understandably, the Serbs who were living there were very afraid of the nationalist Croat movement. Since the last time the Croats started feeling nationalists, they decided to do a little genocide, and the Serbs were their target. They also killed Jews too, and that was during World War II. So like, I mean, I can kind of understand like why they would be afraid, but you know, at the same time, they went a little crazy and did some ethnic cleansing. And then, of course, when the Croats managed to attack them back, then they did ethnic cleansing and also went a little crazy. I remember when V-Man was watching Kamala talk about the rapes on October 7th, and he just went, what about the IDF soldiers that are heroes to half the Israeli population? Yeah, I mean, I'm not really surprised. I mean, I guess, like, at least hopefully Vosh doesn't deny there were rapes on October 7th, but Vosh thinks that Israel is worse because he's stupid. Yeah, the Ustashi were crazy, and it really did not. It was not good that the nationalists in Croatia, when they declared independence, they embraced the checkerboards flag, which was the same flag that was used by the Ustashi. Which I don't. Yeah, like that didn't help. So like, yeah, I understand why the Serbs were afraid, but also, I mean, maybe wait until bad shit starts happening before you go crazy. And they also went crazy. Like Mladic was in Croatia doing stuff there, and he was like a general in their army, and he of course was responsible for a lot of the bad shit that happened. And there were others too. Because there were massacres, and that was really where the whole thing started. And then it went over to Bosnia later. Milosevic did the same thing Putin did by supporting ethnic Serbian insurgents in multiple countries. Yeah, basically, because he wanted the Republika Srpska, the Republic of Serbia, the great like unified Serbia. He wanted to unite all the Serb peoples in Yugoslavia. And do whatever was necessary to kick out anybody who were in areas where Serbs lived. Um, and yeah, like he and or split them up, or if necessary, kill them. Although I don't know the extent to which it seems like Milosevic wasn't necessarily as in on the let's kill them part, but he certainly was complicit in it. And he certainly was okay with, like, he didn't do anything to rein in Mladic and Kardovic. And Kardovic was absolutely on that shit. I mean, he gave like his own version of the prophecy speech before the Bosnian parliament, like before the war even started, where he said, like, if you persist in like independence, then it will lead to your annihilation or your destruction or something. It was pretty blatant that was what he would have been okay with that. But I don't want to say that because I don't. This is just stuff that I thought that I had heard. It looks like I don't think that they got. Let's see. Let's see. What were the posthumous verdicts? Following his death in 4 separate verdicts, he was found to be part of a joint criminal enterprise which used crimes to remove Croats, Bosniaks, and Albanians from large parts of Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, and Kosovo. In 2007, in its verdict against the Republic of Serbian Krajina, president. The Serbian Krajina. What is this? Oh, this must be, this was another unrecognized Serb republic. Okay, because they love this shit. Oh, wait a minute. No, this was this the one they made in Croatia? I think it was. Serb Republic of Krajina. Oh yeah, it was. Okay. Yeah, this was the breakaway area that started in Kanin in Croatia, where they decided that they were gonna break away. Yeah, this is what it looked like here. See, like they were like, okay, we're just gonna take this chunk. This is where the Serbs live, and this is what we want. Okay. Yeah, the documentary doesn't actually mention the name of the republic that they established, but okay. In his speech, he said something. We will not let you. Yes, yeah. He said, yeah, we will not let you drag us into hell. And then he said, we are not ready or you are not ready for war. And like, he said something about how they would all die or like they would be destroyed if it happened. It was very Hitler's prophecy speech-esque. That's where most people live. Yeah, I don't think Milosevic cared, honestly. Like, I don't think, like, it's very obvious that he didn't do anything to try to stop it. And the extent to which that he was willing to cooperate with organizations like the United States, it was a lot of maneuvering. Milosevic was a very sort of smart political operative who was very good at like sort of manipulating people behind the scenes to get the things that he wanted and engineering things. He was a bit like Otto von Bismarck in that way. Because he managed to engage in that a lot. Isn't Wartime SA the topic? How are the Balkans not a distraction? You know what? You're right, Shortstaff Goblin. I'm sorry. This is only tangentially related because this was something else that I had a question about. I am getting distracted. I wanted to know if Milosevic got convicted of genocide posthumously because he died of a heart attack before he actually got. But I mean, he was serving his sentence. He will never get out of the Balkans. Probably not. Although, I mean, Srebrenica is also in the Balkans too. Hello! Can I help you? I mean, this guy is a distraction as well. Oh, hi. Aw. Oh, you're so cute and loud. He has such a loud purr. I need to like get a better quality microphone so I can post short videos of him and you guys can hear because he sounds like an outboard motor. And it's either it's very soothing when he does it, like when you're just like snuggling with him and petting him. But other times he has this other sort of purr that's also just hella loud that he'll do when he wants something. And it's especially funny when he does it because he likes to like lay down right above my head and then like kind of shove his face against my ear and he's just purring right in my ear in the morning at like 6:30 a.m. when he wants me to get up and feed him because that's just a thing that he does. Hi. Okay. Oh, okay. So Milan Martic. Oh yeah, he was the guy who was in charge of um this Krajina Krajnia Krajina. I feel like I should know how to say this. I always forget because they pronounce their J's differently, I think. Um Between 1991, Martich is probably held positions uh of Ministry Interior, Ministry of Defense, the Autonomous Region, which was later renamed to the Republic of Serbia. He was found to have participated during this period in a joint criminal enterprise, which included Slobodan Milosevic, whose aim was to create a unified Serbian state through the commission of a widespread and systemic campaign of crimes against non-Serbs, including areas in Croatia and Bosnia and Herzegovina, envisaged as parts of the state. So, what was he ultimately? Verdict against Serbia's operatives. Yeah, there was like multiple people. Proves beyond a reasonable doubt that at least in August 1991, and all times relevant to the crimes charged in the indictment, a common criminal enterprise existed forcibly to permanently remove. Yeah, okay, so that was um So, in February 2007, the International Court of Justice cleared Serbia under Milosevic's rule of direct responsibility for occurrences of crimes committed during the Bosnian War. The president of the ICJ, however, did state that it was conclusively proved that the Serbian leadership, and Milosevic in particular, were fully aware that massacres were likely to occur. In its 2016 verdict regarding Radovan Karadzic, the ICTY found that there was no sufficient evidence presented in this case to find that Slobodan Milosevic agreed with the common plan to create territories ethnically cleansed of non-Serbs, citing Milosevic's repeated criticism and disapproval of the policies and decisions made by the accused and the Bosnian Serb leadership, though it is noted that Milosevic provided assistance in the form of personnel provisions and arms to the Bosnian Serbs during the conflict. Yeah, so he wasn't like he didn't actually do it. Um uh or he was not. Oh, okay, so they didn't find him directly responsible. I mean, that was another thing that I noted too from the documentary. It seemed like there was a whole bunch of instances of that where it was very obvious that he wanted to kind of like go along to get along with the Americans in a bunch of instances. Um, because that presumably because he had some sort of plan or something that he wanted to do to try later on, and he wanted to avoid like the United States getting too involved with things, and he really had to twist the arms of Mladic and Karadzic in order to get them to go along with a bunch of this stuff. um and then when they went to Dayton, the Dayton Agreement is so funny because it was basically just Bill Clinton essentially decided to lock the representatives of the different the different leaders in Yugoslavia inside of a military base in Dayton, Ohio, until they worked out their shit. And there were some Americans there that basically were there to force them to get along. And Milosevic was one of the people that was there. Um, are you going to react to the Kosovo debate with Vosh? Yes, Chase, I will react to that once I finish watching the documentary about the fall of Milosevic, because I don't know enough about Kosovo yet to react to that. Because the documentary, like most of what I know, is just about the Bosnian War and the Croatian War of Independence and the breakup of Yugoslavia, but not the stuff with Kosovo. Although, like, I have like a vague idea about what happened there, but I would like to know at least a little bit more. Okay. So let's see here. Extermination. Oh, this was something else that I'm confused by. I don't know what the difference is between extermination and genocide. Vosh thought Israel is like, so yeah, I'm not surprised by that. Of course he does. But I mean, that's like not necessarily as interesting as the rest of it. Because I know that he was debating a Serb nationalist, and I think that guy got real obsessed with talking about the KLA. And it sounds like Vosh's other problem too was that I don't believe that it was ever concluded that genocide occurred in Kosovo. And I think that Vosh confused what happened in Kosovo with what happened in Bosnia. So that wasn't good. But obviously there was a bunch of bad shit that happened in Kosovo because there was ethnic cleansing and stuff that occurred there as well. Um, but I'm not as familiar with that. Vosh doesn't know a lot. The debate was pretty frustrating. Like, he doesn't mention Bosnia once the entire. Yeah, that's because he doesn't know anything about any of it. And then, like, he just kind of made some jokes about how, oh man, it was just a bunch of white people hating each other afterwards. And from what I understood, that Serb guy basically just ran everything around. Yeah, he confused KLA massacres with. Because I know, yeah, the KLA did a bunch of bad shit too. Um, but it wasn't all the KLA's fault or whatever. And a lot of that arose from the fact that obviously, like, Milosevic had these views about how the Albanians were being mean to the poor Serbs in Kosovo, which, as far as I understand, it really isn't true. The Albanians in Kosovo were the majority, but I don't believe that they were being, like, this whole thing started as a result of lies that were from ethnic cleansing or ethnic tensions that existed for a long time there. But yeah, that was not the case. Okay. Statute definition. Okay, so this is for Christic. This is the judgment. Extermination. So this is just going over. I think, oh yeah, it was interesting. It was notable as well because in Rwanda, at least, rape as a weapon of genocide was something that was convicted for, because they found this to be the case, because that obviously this does contribute to the conditions inflicted upon the group that are done with the calculation to, like, destroy or inflict bodily harm. Like, yeah, it was, what was the exact wording? Genocide Convention. I should just save this to my computer. Let's see here. Yeah, causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group. And obviously this has to be done with the intent. Like, with the intention of causing this harm, like the intent to destroy in whole or in part through these means, and causing serious bodily or mental harm to the group. Like, so, like, rape would be this, or this, conditions inflicted, deliberately inflicting conditions on the group, conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part, right? Imposing members intended to prevent group births within the group. Yeah, so, like, the rape of those Bosnian women after they killed all the men was done as a deliberate tactic to basically destroy, like, the Bosniaks as a group by, like, yeah, making it so that they were not, that they weren't necessarily a group anymore, that their children were not, like, going to be Bosnian Muslims, because instead, like, they would have, like, half Serb kids, and obviously, like, they were raping them, and they did that. Yeah, like, they were trying to, like, essentially destroy the group cohesion and stuff. I saw Hotel Rwanda again recently. Great film. Yeah, I think that was a good movie. I haven't seen that in a while. I saw the other one. They made one about Romeo Dallaire that I saw, which was more modern and considerably more graphic, which is another film that I should watch at some point. Will you be talking about the horrible sexual violence done by Hamas on 10/7 to Israeli civilians? People are still grossly dying. Yes, that is in fact the entire point of this, JJG. I am talking about this because that people deny the October 7th rapes, and they do so on the basis of a bunch of bullshit claims that there were no evidence, and that the only evidence presented were like, eyewitness testimonies, which they then go out of their way to claim are wrong, and they cry about how there's no forensic evidence. And so part of the entire point of this is to see what's the standard of evidence used in other situations of wartime sexual assaults, because I'm willing to bet, in fact, I almost know for a fact, that it's the same standard of evidence as what was used for October 7th, but they don't care. And they are happy believing all of these rapes happened, but when it's the Jews, then they don't want to. The UN reports aren't really denying it, though. That the Pramila Patten UN report, like, they said they found reasonable grounds to believe that rape had occurred in multiple locations. um they were just very like they couched their language, probably because that they it was harder like to find the evidence or whatever, but there was no, they did not deny it. Even Human Rights Watch doesn't deny it, for fuck's sake. Like, they're saying there is no proof of widespread rape or an order. I mean, I have not seen proof that there was an order, but it seems like from everything I've seen, it was systemic and that it happened, and that like there was definitely a pattern of it, which means that it was probably widespread. It seems like the places where it happened most was at the Nova site and on some of the kibbutzes, which I think is enough for me to say that it was widespread. There was another report by 3 anti-Israel people that deny it. I would need to see that specifically. Most of the people that I've seen denying the rapes are just insane propagandists. And there's also like this weird website called New York War Crimes, which is just dedicated to hating on the New York Times. And they have a quote unquote report that is meant to tear apart the Screams Without Words article from the New York Times. Which is about the rapes on October 7th. And that was, and also the Intercept crap, and their garbage reporting and what have you. Wait, there's a UN report on what? Like denying the rapes on October 7th? Because like, that's not, that's not what I'm, like, if the UN did that, then that's stupid. The crazy thing about Rwanda is that the UN refused to fire back, even when the Interahamwe was attacking or killing them. Yeah, that's because Chase, that's because the UN is useless. And they don't fucking do anything, ever. And I hate it. The UN is useless. JJG, are you in my Discord? You should join my Discord and drop some links in there in the stream suggestions channel. There is a link in the YouTube description. Okay, let's see. Procedural background. General Radislav Kristic was indicted. The statutes of genocide and complicity therein. Persecution by means of murder, cruel treatment, acts of terror, destruction of personal property, and forced transfer, extermination, murders, in the meaning of Article 5, murders within the meaning of Article 3 of the statute, deportation, or the humane act of forced transfer, following the blah blah, Serbian Bosnia. When the attack, he was apprehended. Okay, by the members of stabilization force. Did he not get convicted of the rapes? I thought that he did. The trial chamber found Kristic guilty of genocide, persecution for murders, cruel and inhumane treatment. I mean, it might fall under this particular category. Or maybe they just, yeah. Terrorizing the civilian population, forceful transfer of personal property of Bosnian Muslim civilians, murder is a violation of the laws, and sentence him to 46 years imprisonment. Okay, so this is really long. The attack of the Serbian forces, the enclaves. Yeah, so this is specifically about Srebrenica. I'm not in your Discord. No. Well, you can, if the thing works. Yes, the UN was not always this useless, Chase. I'm saying after the Cold War, the UN became fucking useless. I mean, you could argue that it was useless during the Cold War too, but I don't have enough information to make that claim. But since the Cold War ended, yeah, it's become useless. They don't do anything. I thought it was in cruel and inhumane treatment and genocide potentially. I mean, I know that, so hold on, let's see. For Rwanda here. Evidence presented at the ICTR, so this would be the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, because this was before the ICC and the ICJ existed. I think they had like these independent tribunals. So there's the ICTR and the ICTY. The ICTR revealed Hutu political leaders ordered mass rapes be carried out. So this is, yeah, so that's, Jean-Paul Akesu became the first person convicted of using rape as a form of genocide. So this was the first time, because Rwanda was before Srebrenica. Initially, gender-based violence had not been included in the indictment against Ikesu. However, following presentation by non-governmental NGOs, this guy was part of the Interahamwe, I think. I don't know as much about the Rwandan genocide. That is something that I still have to dig into. There's like a whole bunch of background to that that I'm not as familiar with. Okay. So they amended his indictment. During the trial of Ikesu, the ICTR affirmed that sexual violence, including rape, under paragraph B of the Convention of the Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, affirmed that sexual violence fell under paragraph B, as the rapes had been carried out with the sole intent to destroy in whole or in part a specific group. So yeah, we're talking about paragraph B. So that is this: causing serious mentally or bodily harm to members of the group. Which is what I had said previously. So it's possible that Christich's thing is for that. The ICTR also found that sexual violence against Tutsi women was a systemic part of the genocide. To this extent, the finding against Ikesu that rape can be an act of genocide represented a major change in international jurisprudence and prosecutions of genocide. On September 2nd, 1998, Ikesu was sentenced to life imprisonment after being found guilty of genocide and crimes against humanity, including rape. The first woman charged for genocidal rape was Pauline. I'm not even going to try that. Politician who was the Minister of Family and Welfare for the advancement of women during the conflict. Okay, so yeah, so she was also part of this as well. Okay. Yeah, so this was planned. Like, this was ordered. Now obviously this occurred over a period of, I think, 3 months. So this is a little bit different. The Rwandan genocide is different from the rest of our case studies, which are which are like massacres. Might just control F. Oh yeah, I will, actually. That's a good point. I sort of felt bad control Fing, but you know what? We will just control F. Oh, there we go. Rape, 1 of 6 matches. Oh, okay. So this, factual findings, okay. Situation appeared to be extremely serious to the Bosnian Muslims who had sought refuge in Potokari. The witnesses described to the trial chamber the prevailing atmosphere of terror, the rapes and murders, of the mistreatment, so pervasive that some of the refugees committed suicide or attempted to do so. So the witnesses, so again, is this the evidence that we have? It looks like it is. It looks like this is good enough. Eyewitness accounts. Like, I don't think that they sent in people to perform autopsies and do forensic checks on these bodies. So apparently there is a UN report from June 2024 that is from the UN Commission of Inquiry that was chaired by the 3 anti-Israel people, and they claimed they didn't verify allegations of rape. It's fucked up. I mean, you're going to need to, like, if you want, like, just join the Discord and, like, link it. But I mean, yes, I do think that it's very silly that these people are just, like, they are being incredibly, it's like eyewitness testimony is not good enough suddenly, even if it's like the UN. Which, despite the fact that Pramila Paten's report said otherwise, and they did find, like, evidence to occur that there were rapes on October 7th, even if they couldn't, like, even if she wasn't necessarily able to verify. And I think a lot of it is because that it was very hard for her to find, like, to get all the eyewitnesses, because a lot of people don't want to talk about this stuff, which makes it more difficult. And if you come from a more socially conservative culture, or a culture that will shame you for being raped, then even if you manage to survive, which most of the women on October 7th did not survive, like, if they were raped, they would have just been shot. it just doesn't, it just does not seem like, yeah, so it's just, and also like rape is generally pretty hard to prove. So it looks like for this, the whole thing, that it was good enough, that witness testimonies are good enough, which is what we have. Like, this is what we have for Srebrenica here, is a bunch of witness testimonies of rape. And I mean, all of this stuff is incredibly crazy. Like, these were people who did not, like, this is, oh, you're not going to be able to link it in YouTube chat. YouTube chat doesn't allow links. So if you want to link it, you need to join the Discord and put it in stream suggestions. Witnesses and victims generally are evidence. I didn't know this was contested. Victims even have their ability to have their own counsel given some level of supporting evidence. I don't know why they denied. Yeah, I know, Encello. It's so stupid because these people have decided that witness testimony just isn't good enough. For October 7th specifically. And all they're doing is like just poking a whole bunch of holes. Because it's the Jews. And for some reason, it's not okay to just admit that, yes, Hamas did bad shit. And they have to, like, it's so stupid. I feel like I'm, like, relatively satisfied now. Like, this didn't even take that long. It's like, this is the judgment of Christic, this guy who was found guilty here. And it looks like witness testimonies were enough to conclude, like, the rapes that happened. Oh, and they cite the Akesu trial chamber judgment. Oh yeah, serious mental harm. The trial chamber found that serious bodily or mental harm for the purpose of actus reus. What is actus reus again? I always... action or conduct which is a constituent element of a crime as opposed to the mental state of the accused. Action or conduct. Okay, so this is the guilty act. Okay. Oh, yeah, the act of genocide is what they mean. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm not up on all this. This is the first time that I've ever really dug into any kind of, like, legal things. Which is interesting because I watched a documentary yesterday about the Nuremberg trials. So, and I think tomorrow I might go and yeah. Yeah, I understand that Wikipedia is fucked up, River Runner, but if there's a UN report, like, which Wikipedia is it? Is it the one on about October 7th? Like, Wikipedia is just completely cooked when it comes to all the Israel-Palestine stuff. They have an article about Gaza genocide denial, for fuck's sakes. Like, the ICC, or the ICJ, has not even ruled yet on whether or not it's a genocide. And they have just decided that it is, because a bunch of quote-unquote experts, like, supposedly they like to claim that there is a consensus of experts, because a bunch of human rights people and a bunch of other people have just decided that this is the case. Nobody wants to just wait and see whether or not see what the ICJ says. Oh, the one on sexual violence on October 7th. Oh, you mean the one that, like, actually, like, gives equal weight to the Intercepts report. The last time I looked at that, it was terrible. Have you seen the ICTY produced doc? Oh, did the ICTY produce a documentary about the trials? I think I saw something that I was going to watch later that had footage of some of the stuff that they looked at. Okay, yeah, for the purposes of actus reus in Article 4 of the statute is an intentional act or omission causing serious bodily or mental suffering. It added that the gravity of the suffering must be assessed on a case-by-case basis and with due regard for the particular circumstances. Are we effing? Ooh. I think that the gray zone is probably worse than the intercept. And the reason why I will say that is because that the gray zone also just runs, like, the gray zone is just terrible in general. The gray zone is pro Russia, pro Iran. Yeah, that they're really bad. It seems to be lagging a bit. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to take that as an opportunity to get some water and feed the cat, and hopefully it will stop lagging by the time I return. Hold on. Let's see what OBS is saying. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they are also pro Hamas. Yeah, I mean, and also I'm pretty sure that it was proven too that the gray zone was like paid money by like either Iran or Qatar or something. I don't know. Or I'm sorry, Qatar, not Qatar. But I don't know exactly, but I believe that was something. Yeah, I think the gray zone is worse. Like the gray zone is just they full on they deny Assad's chemical weapons attacks, and yeah, they are not good. Aw, hi kitty. Anyway, I'll be right back. Hopefully it'll fix itself. Okay, hi chat. Oh, nice. Seat, chair, seat, chair. Yes, 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 chair stream. I should have put a video on and left it playing so that it could have been a true chair react stream. Blumenthal is also promoting anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Yeah, I think that I think the gray zone is way worse. But the Intercept's not great. Although right now, like, I don't think Ryan Grimm, I don't even know if he works at the Intercept anymore. His new website, or he runs Drop Site News, which, as Lonerbox so correctly put it, was a um or is basically just like a Hamas propaganda mouthpiece. Yay. Generally, there isn't a particular type of evidence required for this, so DNA being required is a non-starter. It's also considered by courts that when you make victims do that, you traumatize them again. Yeah, I know, it's stupid. Everyone at the Intercept seems to have left. Yeah, I know, right? Like, I think Glenn Greenwald, that was his place, and I don't know where the Intercept is now, or like what. They're probably still like a fairly left-wing outlet. But yeah, and Ryan Grimm and Jeremy Scahill left there. So okay, grave. Okay, it considered that the harm must result in a grave and long-term disadvantage to a person's ability to lead to a normal and constructive life. In subscribing to the above mentioned case law, the trial chamber held that the human treatment, torture, rape, sexual abuse, and deportations are among the acts which may cause serious bodily or mental injury. Okay, yeah, so this is, in the instant case, it was fully satisfied that the wounds and traumas suffered by those few individuals who had managed to survive the mass executions did constitute serious bodily and mental harm within the meaning of Article 4 of the statute. So it looks like this is all establishing this. Deportations or forcible transfer, persecutions, genocide. The trial chamber was not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that the murders, rapes, beatings, absences committed against the refugees of Potokari had also been an agreed upon objective among the members of the joint criminal enterprise. However, it did not doubt that these crimes were natural and foreseeable consequences of ethnic cleansing campaign. Furthermore, given the circumstances at the time the plan was formed, the trial chamber found that General Kristich must have been aware that an outbreak of these crimes would be inevitable given the lack of shelter, the density of the crowds, the vulnerable condition of the refugees, the presence of many regular and irregular military and paramilitary units in the area, and the sheer lack of sufficient numbers of UN soldiers to provide protection. In fact, on July 12th, it considered that the VRS, that's the Bosnian Serb military, had organized and implemented the transportation of the women, children, and elderly outside the enclave, and that General Kristic had been himself on the scene and exposed to firsthand knowledge that the refugees were being mistreated by VRS and other armed forces. In sum, the trial chamber found that General Kristic guilty as a member of a joint enterprise whose objective was to forcibly transfer the Bosnian Muslim women, children, and elderly from Potokari on the 12th and 13th of July to create a humanitarian crisis in support of this endeavor of causing the Srebrenica residents to flee Potokari, where a total lack of food, or to flee to Potokari, where a total lack of food, shelter, and necessary services would have accelerated their fear and panic, and ultimately their willingness to leave the territory. The trial chamber thus held General Kristich incurred the liability also for the incidental murders, rapes, beatings, and abuses committed in the execution of this criminal enterprise at Potokari. It considered that General Kristich had known that these crimes had been related to a widespread and systemic attack created against the Bosnian Muslim civilian population of Srebrenica, and that his participation in them was undeniable evidence of his intent to discriminate against the Bosnian Muslims. The trial chamber therefore found General Kristic liable of inhumane acts and persecution as crimes against humanity. And yeah, okay. So criminal responsibility to kill attention. All right, then the killing of the military age men was a little bit different. Apparently the BBC director just resigned. Oh yeah, that's not necessarily surprising because that's a thing that there was some issues with that. All right, yeah. So I mean, it looks like this is by and large like witness testimonies is what they relied on. I imagine probably that there is a list of evidence somewhere that would have been presented to the court, and I suspect that it would have just been like trials. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, so like they obviously they did get some forensic evidence, but it was from the graves. Case information sheet. Oh my God, we're accumulating these PDFs. Chief of Staff, Deputy Commander of Drina Corps of the Bosnian Serb Army, that's the VRS. Appointed Commander of the Drina Corps. Indictment, rested, pleaded not guilty. Of course you did. 35 years imprisonment. Trial chamber judgment. Convicted of genocide, crimes against humanity. And then, of course, he appealed. Ever going to read that new article about Biden? What, the one that, what are you talking? I mean, I did look at it. And I also saw there was another one in Reuters as well, or like this, I think it was in Reuters. Yeah, I did look at it. Yeah, it looked like there was concern that Israel had committed war crimes and that they wanted to do ethnic cleansing. And the wording of the article is interesting because the one you linked, Chase, it looked like they were not presented, or from the way that it was written, it seemed that this information didn't come up or was not presented to the president until like the closing weeks of his administration. And like he basically just chose just to not do anything about it and left it for Trump. Because I don't know what there would have been much point of him doing. I think that like that's another example of something where maybe he would have done something differently in that situation if Kamala had won. Like perhaps he would have spoken to her about what exactly would have been the next step. And it's very possible that they might have done something different in that case. But because the Trump won, I'm not sure that Biden necessarily felt like it was his place to do anything, because anything that he did would have just been reversed by Trump anyway. But I feel like that doesn't matter. Like I've already seen leftists using that on Twitter to attack Biden over it and claim that he didn't do enough. When I don't know what they would have expected him to do when it was like, I think December or January. People are using this to continue fighting about it. Yeah, I know. It's so stupid. Biden's not the president anymore. Okay? Israel did not do a 3-month total blockade of Gaza where they did not let any food aid in under Biden. They did it under Trump. The GHF did not happen under Biden. It happened under Trump. Okay. Appeals chamber judgment. Okay, so there was the trial chamber where he was convicted of genocide, crimes against humanity, violations of laws and customs of war. And then in the appeals chamber, he was convicted of aiding and abetting genocide, crimes against humanity, and violations of the laws and customs of war. So after appeal, they took away the genocide charge and they said that he was accused of abetting genocide. But did this... Okay, yeah, this is not helpful. Case notes, prosecutor. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I want to read the judgment. I just want to... There was one point in that debate between Ezra Klein and Ta-Nehisi Coates where Coates would took the opportunity to say Biden did that with a smug ass look on his face. It was like watching a South Park episode. My man Coates who said, if you're are you talking about like what he was saying about trend? Yeah, I don't know. That whole thing was stupid. Appeals chamber. Read witness owes full testimony. Christic's judgment, appeals chamber judgment. I mean, Biden is in an ethical sense only responsible for his actions, and thus he should have cut the aid regardless of what Trump was expected to do. I mean, the thing is, though, Ansello, like, I guess, but at the same time, I'm not sure how much good that would have done if he had done it for like a few weeks. Or like a month or two. Because at that point, I don't know if it would have mattered because like Israel already had a whole bunch of stuff. And it's not like it's not like the US could go over and say, hey, give that back. In fact, I'm not even sure because like the way that the aid works, right, is that I think that it's like voted on or whatever, and Israel gets a bunch of stuff. Israel has like a whole huge arsenal of stuff that was already given to them by the United States. I don't think that and yeah, they still had plenty. Judgment, parts 2, 1 and 2. Okay. Okay. Came across soldiers raping a young woman. All right, so we have a Dutch-Bat medical orderly. Oh, I think this was in the Wikipedia article that I was reading. We saw two Serb soldiers. One of them was standing guard, and the other one was lying on the girl with his pants off. And we saw the girl lying on the ground on some kind of mattress. There was blood on the mattress. Even she was covered in blood. She had bruises on her legs. There was even blood coming down her legs. She was in total shock. She went totally crazy. Bosnian Muslim refugees nearby could see the rape, but could do nothing about it because of Serb soldiers standing nearby. Other people heard women screaming or saw women being dragged away. Several individuals were so terrified that they committed suicide by hanging themselves. Throughout the night and the early morning and early the next morning, stories about rapes and killings spread through the crowd, and the terror in the camp escalated. I believe this was at the UN camp. Terror deepened, screams, gunshots. Oh yeah, this is okay. This was in Podokari. This is where they sent people. Yeah. So there was. So I mean, like, it's not like they went and it's not like they went and like did forensic tests. You know, like yeah, it was all the rape stuff would have been witness testimony. The arrival of the Serbs of Podokari, the Bosnian Muslim refugees taking shelter in and around the compound were subjected to a terror campaign comprised of threats, insults, looting and burning of nearby houses, beatings, rapes, and murders. Adrena Corps officers were presented Podokari. Okay, what is the C. Ora Partis? What is that?
His testimony before the trial, General Krstić maintained that the movement of the Bosnian Muslim women, children, and elderly Podokari was an evacuation. Supra pares. Witness. Witness, witness, witness. Lots of, yeah. There was also an array of non-Drinacorp Serb forces present in Podokari. There were VRS main staff officers reporting directly to General Mladic. Some eyewitnesses also reported seeing members of the paramilitary group Archons Tigers. Oh, the Tigers in Podokari. Other witnesses said that some of the Bosnian Serb soldiers appeared to be irregulars or Rambo types. Oh yeah, there was some crazy extremist peoples among these particular groups. Some of these guys were like people that Milosevic sent from Serbia to like fight here. And they were like, a lot of them, some of them were like just like thugs, basically, like just like hired people that were just going to go in there and fuck up the Bosniaks, like just crazy extremist nationalists. I don't know if I want to watch, like, listen, Chase, maybe, although honestly, I'm not overly fond of Einat Wolf and her whole like, and her like, it just, she basically thinks that, like, she calls it Palestinianism, which to me just reads as her just saying that like Palestinians aren't real, because that because that as a result, like her identity came from, or because Palestinian identity arose in part out of a response to Israel, but that's not necessarily true. Oh yeah, I understand, Chase. I mean, like, yeah, she might be pro two states, but I think that she has, like, the way that she views the conflict is a bit weird. Like, she says, it seems like, at least based on, I think I watched her have a debate with Destiny a long time ago. And during that debate, she seemed rather insistent on basically blaming the entirety of the Palestinian opposition to Israel as, because they're anti-Semitic. I mean, the Palestinian identity didn't entirely arise out of that. There were people who lived in the Ottoman Empire who considered themselves like as being like from the region of Palestine, but like that wasn't necessarily nationalism. But also like whatever, there's like a whole bunch of there's lots of examples. I'm pretty sure there's lots of examples in history where one group of people's identity emerged because like out of an opposition to another group. It's not like that never happens. So there's only 3 examples of it people could find before the 1920s. I think Lonerbox was looking through some newspapers, and there were certainly cases where people like referring to the groups of people that were living there as Palestinians or whatever from like the Ottoman time period. But I mean, even so, like, I don't even care. Like, let's say that's not the case. That doesn't matter. I don't think that that's a great argument to then say the Palestinians hated the Jews because they were just anti-Semitic. No, that was not the only reason why they hated them. That was one of the reasons. There was an element to that. But I mean, another reason was also that this perception that this group of people came in from Europe in order to take their homes and set up a country in like their region. Jesus Christ, we're getting a lot of Israelis, a lot of our Israeli people in the chat. Palestinian identity arose broadly in the late 19th century, and Palestinian nationalism arose in the interwar period. Mostly, I don't know why this is still contested. Yeah, that seems to be the case in Solo. like nationalism in general was not really a thing until like in the Arab world for a while. It came a little bit later, or at least actually it probably came in around the same time, you know, like nationalism as a concept. Um and there was also like pan-Arab nationalism and stuff. What you're referring to is true, but it referred to, I mean, that's yeah, but that no, like yeah, that's what Anseller said. The interwar period was the 1920s. Palestinian nationalism. Um, yeah, I know. Yes, yeah, I know. There was lots of illiteracy in the region, so a lot of the people who fought back against it were different. Yeah, but I just don't listen. My problem with the way that Einat Wolf characterizes the conflict is that it seems like, unless I'm wrong, unless she actually has done it, but she sure as fuck it didn't do it in her debate with Destiny, is the same problem in general that I have with a lot of Israelis. It is the refusal to recognize that Israel ever did anything wrong. And that there might be a reason why the Palestinians might be mad at the Israelis. It doesn't have anything to do with anti-Semitism. Obviously, anti-Semitism is, of course, a part of it. I would not deny that. But like, I hate this notion where it's just like, no, they just hated us because we were Jewish. And the fact that like you came there and took land that they were living on and kicked them all out has absolutely nothing to do with it. Which is silly. And I think that's dumb. Like, you can't. Listen, my Israeli brothers and sisters, my people who wish to like join the club of Western democratic nations or liberal democratic nations. It's time for you to accept that you did bad shit, just like we did bad shit. If you want to be part of the liberal democracy club, then like you need to like own up to your history. We did. Just because Zionism was largely influenced by anti-Semitism, that doesn't speak its legitimacy. Sorry, Adi, I'm not sure exactly what. Yeah, Jews did not kick the Palestinians off the. Really? That's an oversimplification. I mean, that's part of what happened. What period are you talking about, though? The Civil War? No, I'm talking about the Nakba. Like during the Nakba, because there was a civil war, the it's a massive oversimplification. I mean, in some cases it is, in some cases it's not. I'm sorry. Do you want me to just say for shorthand? Like, basically a whole bunch of people left during the Nakba and they weren't allowed to come back. And some of those people were forcibly expelled. There you go. That is the Benny Morris approved explanation. A bunch of people ran away during a war. Yes, I know that most of them fled, but the real crime isn't that they fled, it's that they weren't allowed to come back after it was over. And like there wasn't even any sort of attempt made to like check to see whether or not they had any involvement. It was just, no, you can't, and we'll shoot you if you try to come back. Or we'll kick you out again. Yes, yes, Chase, yes, there were massacres. I think Benny Morris found that like there was like, I don't remember, was it like 50? There was like a certain number of villages that where people were actually forcibly expelled from, but the rest of it was that they fled, and some of the reasons why they fled too was because of stuff like Deir Yassin. Addie, the first part of my rant must have been missed. Okay, hold on. My point was just that the cause of an identity forming doesn't really matter. It's a stupid reason to deny national identity. Yes, I agree. Yeah, I think, yeah, he found that it was like 40 something, I think, when Mr. Morris did his thing. I would have to pull up Birth of the Palestinian Refugee Problem. He has like a whole map and the list of villages that were expelled or whatever. The point was, though, is that word got around and people left. I think you mean done by the Haganah. Not the IDF. But I mean, it depends on I obviously it was mostly the Irgun and the Leahy who were doing like most of the insanely bad shit, but the Haganah did some of it too. Uh, Also, I think Operation Haram in the north was where they were doing some stuff, and after the war, there were some expulsions too. Or if there weren't expulsion, or well, no, I will say there were expulsions after the 48 war. Not necessarily expulsions out of Israel, but there were expulsions from like from one moving people around from one village to another, like people who were living on the border or whatever, or like kicking people out to Haifa and whatnot. But yeah, like after the war 2000 were well. Yeah, I know that there were people who were like expelled from the country. There were also people who were internally displaced. Like they were basically made to leave where they were living and told to go somewhere else. Yeah. Um there was a bunch of that because they wanted to Judaize the Galilee, like in the northern part. They wanted to like move Jews into these places, or they didn't want people living on the border because of security concerns and stuff. And there was something that happened in the north. I think it was called like Operation Haram. Not like Haram as in yeah. What about the Irguners? Yes, you're right, TRC. Let's not forget that. I mean, yeah, I know it didn't affect many, but like obviously like it's still really shitty to have people get kicked out of their homes. I feel like that's like a little bit less bad than some of the other stuff that they did, but yeah, like like I said, for me the really shitty thing, the really shitty part was the fact that that all the people who ran away, like none of them were allowed to come back after it was over. Even if they never did anything wrong and there was never any attempt made to check. It was just sorry, nope, you can't come back. And when they left, they obviously didn't know that that was going to happen, regardless of where their loyalties lay. And it's not like all of them were like, oh man, we're going to leave and then the Arabs will win and then we'll come back. Like, we can't know that that's how that they all thought. And I understand why they weren't allowed to come back, but it's still shitty. There is bullshit here. 48ers were granted voting rights immediately. Wait, hold on. What are you saying? Yeah, they weren't. They didn't get voting rights until I think the 1960s. It was after the Kfar Qasim massacre. That played a part in it, I believe. In 48ers getting more rights because of the backlash to that. Is Sev here? No, he's not. River Running, I don't know why that person. Wait, which person? Who is lying, River Runner? You should maybe start adding people. What they had voting rights immediately? No, they didn't. They were under military rule. I don't think they had voting rights, did they? That seems very unlikely. Like they were citizens, but they were under military rule. Like they lived under martial law. The anti-Semitism is not thinking it was shitty. The anti-Semitist comes from thinking it was in any way exceptional. Wait, thinking what was in any way exceptional, short-staff goblin? Let's ask the clanker. Kalinda is getting shot locked. No, I'm getting stun locked. They were granted citizenship in 1952. It says the short answer is yes. They did have voting rights, but their political rights existed alongside significant restrictions, most notably military rule over Arab communities until 1966. So is this one of those things where they had it on paper, but they didn't really have it in reality? Is that what I'm getting here? Israel declared statehood in 1948. Roughly 700,000 Palestinian Arabs fled or were expelled during the war. Around 150,000 remained inside of Israel's new borders. These individuals entered a strange legal limbo, not deported, not enfranchised quite yet, often displaced within the new state, sometimes separated from their original towns. It wasn't exactly a triumphant welcome wagon. Yeah, that was always what I thought. This is actually, damn, ChatGPT, nice. This seems like a fairly, yeah. In Israel's first general election, you're getting, yes, Chase, I know I'm getting one guide. It's fine. I mean, I feel like I have the answer mostly for this. I might want to make like, I guess like a video about this where I kind of just go through and present some of the, but it looks like I feel pretty in general satisfied that witness testimony. Yes, I did earn the clanker roll. Yeah, I was just like, fuck it, let's just ask the clanker. I just thought it would be funny. In Israel's first general election on on January 25th, 1949, to choose the Constituent Assembly that became the first Knesset, Arab residents were allowed to vote and did vote. In fact, several Arab parties participated, although many were satellite parties aligned with dominant Mapai, Mapai, I'm probably butchering this, party under David Ben-Gurion. So politically, enfranchisement came early. Citizenship. Israel did not immediately have a citizenship law on the shelf. Any more horrible than any other? So that the Nakba was any more horrible than the other 8+ different population transfers around the time. My non-Jewish view on this, if someone only cared about the Jews' war crimes there, oh well, yeah, no, obviously, forceful like population transfers or ethnic cleansing, as we call them today. Of course, that shit's not good in general, and obviously, like people will focus on, like people will try to make the Nakba. Like I said, the worst part about the Nakba is the fact that people, the people who ran away weren't allowed to come back after. And also the massacres, obviously. That shit was obviously also really bad. But I mean, like, the fact that people left wasn't the that wasn't so much the issue, because it's normal, like you would expect. Of course people were gonna run away. It was a war. And people obviously didn't want to be killed, and so they would seek refuge elsewhere. But the fact that they couldn't come back was really shitty, or like no attempts were made to, I guess, like try and decide which ones maybe didn't collaborate with the enemy or whatever. And also I don't know, Israel just did a whole bunch of shit where it felt like they just shot themselves in the foot so much when it came to like the Arab population, and like this worry that they were a fifth column. They didn't really do as much as I think they should have to really like welcome them into the country. Israel did not immediately have a citizenship law on the shelf. Yeah, the citizenship law of 1952, which granted Israeli citizenship to most Arabs who remain. But there's a crucial caveat. Until 1966, most Arab towns and regions were under military administration within Israel. That meant travel permits, curfews, and limitations on employment and property, effectively a parallel legal regime. You could vote, but you might still need a military permit to go to the beach or visit a relative in another town. Yeah, so their freedoms were restricted in a bunch of different ways. Citizenship law, yeah, so they didn't end the military rule until 1966. And I think the Kfar Qasim massacre played some role in that, is my understanding. Probably because that the military rule was part of why the Kfar Qasim massacre was like a thing, right? Because the curfews were weaponized against the residents of that village.
and use as an excuse to kill them when they change the time. And yeah. If you're tracking democratic paradoxes, this is a classic. Israel granted political rights on paper very early, but the lived experience of the citizenship was constrained for nearly 2 decades. The complexities here ripple forward. Debates about equality, minority rights, and the legacy of military administration still inform Israeli Arab/Palestinian politics today. History doesn't just echo, it sometimes leaves a forwarding address. If you want, we can follow the thread of blah, blah, blah of transitional citizenship cases. No, that's fine. I think assuming that the clanker is not lying to me. But yeah, I know that they were made citizens early. I just, in my mind, I was specifically thinking of the voting rights, but it was the thing that was the problem really was the military rule, which restricted their movement and stuff. TRB. Oh. Rights on paper, Kalinda is a clanker confirmed. Well, no, that's what I said at the beginning. I was like, is this one of those they had it on paper, but they didn't really have it? I mean, kind of. Yes, they could vote. But that didn't necessarily mean that they had all the rights. You can always give the clanker to empty its pockets and provide sources. Oh yeah, that's true. I can do that. I'm just gonna ask it to empty its pockets. Voting rights. Palestinian citizens of Israel have had the right to vote in elections since the first Israeli elections. European Council on Foreign Relations. Israeli democracy. Oh, this is literally from the Israel Democratic Institute. Clanker bigotry is based on. Yeah, I kind of did see that, Chase. It was okay-ish, I suppose. Kind of funny, I guess. Military rule until 1966. Palestinians under military rule. European Council on Foreign Relations again. PalQuest. What is PalQuest? I don't think I've heard of this website before. Interactive encyclopedia of the Palestine question. Interesting. Okay. Primary source documents. Yes, please. I love primary sources. I hate autocorrect. How many of you are on your phones? Full English translation of the nationality law, citizenship law is available via the Adala, the Legal Center of Arab Minority Rights in Israel website. I'm on my tablet. Oh, I see. Section 3, nationality by residents in Israel, covers the acquisition of the Israeli nationality for persons who were immediately before the establishment of the state Palestinian citizen and to meet the registration/restriction criteria. $1949. Is this website gonna load? Uh-oh. Error 16.
The site is currently unavailable. We apologize for temporary inconvenience. Oh no. Is the site actually unavailable? Or am I being denied access because I'm not in Israel? Do I need to turn on my VPN and make it think that I am? Because during wartime, Israel blocks access to a bunch of different websites for people who are not in the country. The only thing that I hate about using YouTube and YouTube chat on the tablet or on a phone or tablet is the fact that there's no autocomplete for names when you're trying to @, people. It's really annoying. Lance Corporal David yeah. Okay, so this was the witness. Yeah, this is all witness testimony. Okay, so literally in the prosecution document here for their discussion, like for the prosecutor, is this the prosecutor V. Radoslav Kristik? The office of the prosecutor. Yeah, so this is the document for the prosecution, I think. Findings of fact. Yeah, so I mean, it looks like even through their evidence presented here, it's all witness testimony for the rapes. That is like, in so much as they mention it, that is what they present. It is witness testimonies. Well, you see, Bill, it's because the YouTube has not gotten their shit together yet, and they don't know things. Or like, I don't know, because YouTube doesn't seem to care about making its chat experience better. It's kind of annoying, honestly. But okay, so yeah. Can't minimize YouTube on my phone and have it still play. Oh yeah, I have YouTube Premium because I listen to YouTube so often when I go for walks and stuff that I've basically reached a point now where like I can't live without that because I'm almost always listening to YouTube when I am going places or whatever. Hmm. Damn, it is still snowing. Winter has arrived. Oh boy. I didn't know that's a feature. Wait, what's a feature? I hate winter. Canadians win winter. It's snowing. What the hell? Yeah, I know. It's very snowing here. Honestly, I think snow is pretty, and I'll think that it's pretty maybe for like the first 5 minutes or whatever. But yeah, it. I don't know. Uh, okay. You have snow when it isn't a storm and it's exhausting to walk anyway. You love snow when it isn't a storm. Yeah, like I like it when I think it's pretty, but it's not really fun going out in it. And then it turns to sludge, and then very likely, like it wouldn't surprise me, for example, if tomorrow it rains and then all the snow melts, and that just ruins it. You know, it's just like whatever. I just hate it. Um, just ruining it. It's pretty, but it's there for so long. Oh yeah, that's another thing too. Yes. Initially I think the snow is cool for about 5 seconds, and then it won't go away because it's there until April. Although that seems to be the case less. I think like back in like 2014, I remember the snow always sticking around for way longer and being insane. But now it seems like it does not stick around for nearly as long. Or like it's very sort of wishy-washy, and that it goes away and comes back. Yes, Bill, this is Canada, and the snow would stick around sometimes until April. This was a long time ago. Um Winter is gender confirming for us men. Oh yes, April. Yeah, exactly. Like there were points where there would still be snow in April. And it got irritating. Got incredibly irritating, and I hated it. I sincerely hope that I'm able to find some sort of job, or get some or begin to gain some sort of income by April or before April, because that's probably when I'm gonna have to start digging into my savings to pay for stuff. Because that's when the government assistance run out. There will always be a final snowstorm in March, like literally. Oh yeah, that's always winter's last gasp. Is always it's always like it's either in March or April. Sometimes it can be in February, maybe late February. Okay. Went to the Grand Canyon in April once, and it was actually snowing, but the elevation is over 8,000 feet. Canada, most of our territory is too cold and far to live in. True. Okay. Um, All right, so that is for that. Rape during the Rwandan genocide. So this is a Human Rights Watch report, which is apparently very, very good. I don't know right now where my opinion is on like these human rights organizations. Obviously, I'm not like, I feel like when they talk about Israel, at that point, there's all kinds of craziness. And they kind of it seems like there's a weird both sidesing that happens with Russia and Ukraine too, with them, which is annoying. It's 10C here, so almost see sure what. I mean, not really, but obviously I would love for it to be 10 degrees Celsius here. But right now it feels like minus 10. $10 centimeters of snow. I feel like it's very possible, I will say, that for the Rwandan genocide, at least, there might be some level of forensic evidence for the rapes if we're talking about women, because it went on for months, and like and I believe like a lot of the women survived and had to deal with it after the fact, which is a little bit different than our other two examples, which at Srebrenica and Srebrenica. Isn't it true the Rwandan genocide was committed mostly by civilian Hutu militias and not the government? Yes, I think I believe that is the case. Yes, but they were ordered. Like rape was actually ordered to be used. The answer is DNS. It is always DNS. Wait, what? We haven't moved on to the Network Plus studying. Oh wait, this is IP, not the protocol. My bad. What? Do you want me to do you want me to move on to studying for Network Plus? Because I could. I mean, I'm starting to get hungry. So I might just go and do that, but I don't know. I have other practice tests, but to be honest with you, doing them makes me it makes me feel not good. Because because that they're harder and I should probably do it. Yes. Yes, I should be writing I/P Tash Gordon, not the other one. I don't even know if this is is this gonna load? Yeah, like the government was like, I think they like encouraged it, but it was mostly it was the Interhamwe. They were the militia and other militias. There's a very bad joke to be made about protocols here. Oh, it's funny actually, because there were a couple of, it's not just IP, but I believe there is also like a there's another network acronym that I believe it's IDF. Like there's actually a network acronym, IDF networking. Yeah, IDF refers to intermediate distribution frame, which is the secondary network distribution port that connects to the main distribution frame, MDF, to bring network connectivity to specific areas within a building, such as a floor apartment. Yeah, so these are like closet places where you plug in your shit. And one of them is IDF, the intermediate distribution frame, which when I first learned about that, I was like, oh boy. Oh yeah, Chase, I remember that. Yeah, the Hutu head of government was killed, and like they blamed the Tutsis for it. Yeah. Um, Next thing you know, there'll be an elders protocol. Like it's not even it's literally just an acronym, but like when I see it, it just confuses me because I'm like, but IDF stands for Israeli Defense Forces. Which I thought was very funny. But I mean, maybe I'll try to use that as some sort of trick to remember it. I don't know. Saw a doctor in Pakistan who had a certificate stating IDF member. It was International Diabetes Foundation. Nice. Oh yeah, that's kind of funny, yeah. Oh, hey, River Runner. What are we talking about now? Oh, yeah, it was a little bit of networking. Sorry, I'm losing steam here, guys. I'm so hungry. I think this is one of the problems that I have. I feel like Loner can kind of just keep his stream going. He just goes and gets food. Where do you stand on the Mississauga question? I think Mississauga is a um disgusting place. That no, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't actually feel Toronto is superior, I guess. That's all I'm gonna say. Because I never lived I like the only time that I've ever really been to Mississauga is when I would take the bus that would go there, that would stop off there on my way to Toronto. And then yeah, because because there was like a go bus that would stop there. The Mississauga. Well, I think that TRC is trying to say that Mississauga is a disgusting, terrible place or something. I hope your stream gets popular. Well, thank you, River Runner. I hope so too. And yes, you were kind of vindicated, although I don't know if you were attempting to make some kind of statement beyond that. But yes, they did have voting rights, but they still lived under military rule. That was really the problem. Is the fact that their freedoms were restricted. You will learn a lot about IP. I mean, I know like stuff about IP, but or are you talking about internet protocol now? No better nobody better be bad mouthing Hazel McKellion. Oh God, you guys are making all these weird references that I am not overly familiar with. Also, I think Dante lives in Toronto, not Mississauga, but I don't know. Oh, you mean Israel Palestine? Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I will. Obviously, I'm like on a quest to continue to learn more about it. But I probably still know more than the average person, and that's mostly just what I've gleaned from watching Lonerbox and when I was watching Destiny do all of his research streams on it. But like I've learned so much stuff from Lonerbox about it because that he is more informed on it than the vast majority of people who talk about it online. And also, like I was reading Benny Morris as well. Yes, Dante is Canadian. I am also Canadian. Oh, Hazel McMillan was the mayor of Mississauga for 1,000,000 years. The facts align 70-30 to Israel. I mean, like I think that generally speaking, sure, the Israeli narrative is more like accurate to a degree, just because that they are just because Israel's a democracy. However, and like a lot of the Arab countries are not, and they have like a really crappy media environment. But like, you know, like where they just have Al Jazeera or whatever. And so like the narrative that they get fed about the Nakba is obviously, yeah, that is less accurate than like the Israeli narrative. But I mean, the Israeli narrative also has evolved over time. And there is still like, I guess like even the most like insane right-wing interpretation of the Israeli narrative of the Nakba, which is, I think it's basically like the Arabs declared war on us, and which is true, they did. After like a civil war started, after they rejected the partition plan, and then during the war they all ran away, and like they don't, and also the Nakba was them saying that it was a catastrophe that the state of Israel was even born or that it existed or whatever, which is not really what that means, but whatever. You'll go to the same place Destiny and Loner went to. Israel is mostly right, but did bad shit. Palestinians have legitimate grievances, and there should be 2-state nations. Yeah, well, no, I'm already there, River Runner. Like, that's my opinion. Yeah. Most Israelis will not accept the state is founded on colonialism. Well, I mean, like, I think that that's part of the problem. Isn't necessarily like, yeah, I'm sure a lot of Israelis, like maybe like the average Israeli, might be willing to accept that they did bad stuff, but I think that it's unfair that that they won't, that there's not necessarily a willingness to acknowledge. Really, the biggest, honestly, the real problem with this conflict is that it can basically be boiled down to each side's opinion of the other is, this is our land, get the fuck out. And the problem with that is that it means that neither side is willing to acknowledge that the other side has a legitimate claim to the land, which is not good. Israel and Zionism is not colonial. That's a joke, lol. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not colonial. Like, I think the problem is that, like, yes, it is colonial. I mean, hell, I think that Benny Morris even refers to the early Zionists as like colonists, or they even refer to themselves as that. But it's not colonial in the same way as, like, let's say the English colonization of the of America was colonial. Like, it's not that, and that's the problem, right? Is that it's referring to it in a way like, this is not, they did not come there to build themselves a country for the same reasons why people did with England. He says only about the first wave settlers. I mean, I would have to get a little bit further. Yeah, like, yes, it is colonial, but with a whole bunch of caveats attached to it. Like the fact that it's not like in the same way. He says in Hebrew that Zionism is not colonial, but the first Aliyah has similarities. They were almost, yes, that's correct, Chase. Yes, a lot of them were stateless refugees, especially later on. Yeah, like, it's not the same kind of colonialism. They were not, because they were not doing it for a profit. They were not doing it to benefit some sort of other nation, like was the case with a lot of the the people who came to America on behalf of the British. Some said it was colonial, but it was not colonialism. They used words to colonize, Herzl, but it was not meant in the context of. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It was not meant in the context of the. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it was colonial, but in a different way than we traditionally understand colonialism. That being said, I absolutely think that what's happening in the West Bank with the settlements and shit, that is like a kind of like a form of colonialism, or basically just is like straight up, or it's like some kind of settler shit. I don't know exactly what to call it, but it's not that different from what Russia did in other places, where they would just move their people in there so that they could say they have a claim to the land, and then like start trying to kick people out or whatever. There's a big difference between colonial and colonization. Yeah, I know. The mother state was international Jewry. I think it's so funny that people say that. Yeah. No, like the settler colonial shit is silly, but yeah, like, I mean, sure, yes, Israel was that, but it also wasn't that, because it was completely different from every other example of that. Or like, it wasn't the same as every other example of that. And obviously when people start using those buzzwords, they're morally loading it. Daniela Weiss is a Bond villain. God damn. Every time I look at Daniela Weiss, she's just like, she just looks evil. Like, why? She, look at her. Really? Have you, River Runner? You've met Daniela Weiss? I'm so sorry. She's so terrible. She is unhinged, but less so in Israel, in Hebrew. I mean, yeah, like, I understand she's a minority. I know that she does not represent most Israelis. I would not say that she does, but she is crazy. Like what? Are you saying that she goes out of her way when she's speaking English to sound more insane? I believe she's technically speaking Chiller. Like, I don't know. She's just she just looks so evil. She does not represent most of the settlement movement. Yeah, I know. I'm aware that she doesn't represent most of the settlement movement. She's like the most extreme form of it. But yeah, like, she wants to settle Gaza, which is insane. And so does Ben-Gvir. Both Vosh and Lonerbox have called her that, which says something. Yeah. Well, I think Vosh likes to call Ben-Gvir Ben-Gvitler. I think he called him that at one point. But obviously, yeah, like, these people are the most extreme and the most crazy. But the thing that is scary is that Bibi Netanyahu decided to sell his soul to these people so that he could form a government. She wants to appear more unhinged in English. Why? Also, this is like my favorite anecdote. Her parents were members of the Lehi, which I would argue is the more insane. Like, I think the Lehi was even more insane than the Irgun. Didn't they like break off from? Yeah, they did. They split from the Irgun because the Irgun were not both of you assume he had a soul system. Yeah, okay, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I guess the BB does not. Yeah, I'm aware that they don't represent like the majority of Israelis. River, I know. Because like my understanding is that most Israelis are reactive. So like if tomorrow the Palestinians got a leader that wanted to make peace and have two states, and then like said leader stopped all the terrorism from happening, and like decided to like just do civil disobedience resistance instead, I feel like if this lasted for like a year or so, a lot of Israelis would probably turn around, like would probably like be more okay with two states again or whatever. Yes, I'm aware that the Leahy was like 300 people. I know. You don't need to keep like trying to like downplay all this stuff by pointing out all these facts to me or whatever. I'm aware. I'm not saying that the Leahy was like a big thing. The Haganah was the biggest of these groups. And the Haganah were also the least unhinged of these groups. And I mean, I remember too, after the Deir Yassin massacre, there were members of the Haganah who actually wanted to like punish the Irgun for the stupid shit that they did because they weren't supposed to be doing this stuff. And the Altalena thingy where Ben Gurion, I think it was Ben Gurion, he actually like ordered shots to be fired at weapons that were being brought in on a ship, on like I think it was on an Irgun ship by Menachem Begin. Yeah, like no, none of these guys particularly liked each other. The Altalena thing was bad, really terrible. Yeah, I mean, I think that it says something about the fact that they and then they integrated the Irgun and the Leahy into the IDF. But yeah, I mean, I think the Irgun and the Leahy were not good. Obviously, the Haganah did some bad shit as well, but it seemed like a lot of the bad shit was done by the Irgun and Leahy. Oh, the Leahy wasn't integrated. Did they just get disbanded because that they were like? I think that like of the three, weren't these guys were more insane? Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Because these guys they wanted to do an alliance with Nazi Germany. Because they had such a hate boner for the British. Or maybe the Irgun were worse. I don't know. But trying to form an alliance with the Nazis is pretty and in 1940 no less. Yeah, they did, but obviously the Nazis had no interest. And then, after Stern's death in 1942, the new leadership of the Leahy began to move more towards support for Joseph Stalin's Soviet Union and the ideology of National Bolshevism. Oh boy. The Leahy were Nazbols? That's funny. They were tanky. It's like... well, to be fair, tankies weren't exactly the same as National Bolshevism. National Bolshevism or like Nazbols, that's basically like this weird amalgamation of like Nazism and or I guess fascism and communism. Because I don't necessarily want to say Nazism because these guys were Jewish, but yeah. Colloquially known as Nazbols, is a synthetic political movement combining ultranationalism and Bolshevik communism. Yeah, basically. I think this was I don't know. Some people Gregor Strasser was someone in the like who wanted more like I guess socialist-ish things in the Nazi party, but yeah, there it is, Strasserism. Yeah, Gregor and Otto Strasser. I think these guys were both killed on the Night of the Long Knives. These were like early Nazi party figures. Socialism with Nazi characteristics, yeah. Or we could just say ultranationalism. Leahy were also binationalists, so you know, really, that's kind of funny. Oh, you mean they wanted like a binational state with the Arabs? Even though they were, well, actually, I mean, I suppose that like in some ways that would make sense, but it's, Oh yeah, these two guys did it was the Leahy and the Irgun that did the massacre at Darius scene. God damn. Yeah, these guys mostly did not like the British. I mean, they didn't like the Arabs either, but they really didn't like the British. Which, I mean, you know why? It's because of the British were stopping Jewish immigration after the Arab revolt in the 30s. Pakistan has 60% cousin marriage. It's terrible. Yes, I know that Pakistan, I think Pakistan has some issues with that. That's such a weird non sequitur. I don't know what that has to do with anything. They took IQ tests at Nuremberg, and Strasser was found to be the lowest IQ among the Nazi leadership. Wait, what? I thought that. Hold on, didn't. Oh, okay. Are you sure that. Okay. Yeah, Gregor Strasser was killed during the Night of the Long Knives. What about Otto Strasser? I'm sure. Oh, no, Otto Strasser lived. Okay. German politician and an early member of the Nazi Party, Otto Strasser, together with his brother Gregor Strasser, was a leading member. Gregor Strasser is the one that I'm more familiar with of the party's more radical wing, whose ideology became known as Strasserism, and broke from the party due to disputes with the dominant Hitlerite faction. Formed the Black Front as such a split from the Nazi during. Oh, he left Germany. That's why. Okay. But Gregor didn't. And then he just left the party, and then they killed him during the Night of the Long Knives. Yeah. But I don't think that I don't know if Strasser was, Kalinda, you got cooked by Dispel, not gonna lie, little bro. Wait, what do you mean? I didn't even argue with Dispel. I mostly argued with Ash. The only like real quote unquote argument that I had with Dispel was when like he made the ridiculous claim that the Holocaust can absolutely be compared to what's going on in Gaza because people died in both, which I thought was the stupidest thing. Dispel was obviously trolling in that conversation. He was just there to derail. He did not contribute anything. It was really stupid. And I still don't know what to make of that guy. He was trolling, just like you're trolling right now, Spider. No Dispel, just said random shit that had nothing to do with anything. He's a professional troll. Yeah, I know. I can't believe that I wanted to talk to that guy. I mean, I still kind of want to talk to him, maybe one-on-one instead of not, but at the same time, it's just so, like, I don't know. Loner was right. He is probably just a troll. Or at least he was very certainly trolling during that conversation. Low-key, I don't think it's crazy to compare Israel to Nazi Germany. Call me crazy. I don't think it's anti-Semitic. I mean, even if you don't think it's anti-Semitic, that's fine. But I do think it's crazy, and I think it's stupid, and I think it's ahistorical. And I honestly think that people who do it are often just doing it to attack Jews or to make Jews feel bad. Which, like you can see there, River Runner is getting triggered in chat. Thanks for your regarded opinions. Like, yes, it is. It's incredibly it's not just offensive, it's just wrong. It's stupid. And yeah, it's one of those things that triggers me. Dispel is not a troll, he's a schizo. You know what? Maybe. Yeah, I mean, Spider might be trolling. All right, I'll compare Israel to Russia, little bro. Please don't. Please don't do that. Okay, River Runner, calm down. That's Spider, okay? Loner Unboxed is Spider. Spider is our he is very often trolling. Spider be doing a little bit of trolling right now. Spider wakes up every morning wanting to fight. Yes, he's very obviously trolling. I don't like, yeah. I don't know that he could actually back up that statement. Like, yeah. I'll do it right now. What? Low key, you be trolling. I mean, you're a Loner Box viewer, and you really like Loner Box, and it seems like you agree with him a lot. Spider could debate Teuton and win. I mean, probably most people could debate Teuton and win. Yes, Teuton is very stupid. But you know what? It's fun to talk to him. A spider could end Teuton in a single phone call. Lol. That is pretty funny. I mean, yeah, he's a little bit more knowledgeable, but I mean, mostly like his knowledge comes from whatever he heard on Hassan's stream, which really isn't saying much. And sometimes he'll like go out of his way to read stuff, but all of the knowledge that he has or that he gets, it comes from like the most insane sources, I feel like, which is annoying. Yes, I also think that Teuton is fixable. It's just one of those things that would take forever. Also, he's disappeared. Oh, no, wait. He was in Loner's waiting room, I think, a couple days ago. So he hasn't completely disappeared. So maybe he'll be back. Maybe one day he'll return. You know who is the worst, Kalinda? Who's the worst? I remember when Sev confronted him and Teuton just... I mean, that's what happens every time Sev confronts Teuton. It's very funny. No, I do not think that Vosh is a pedo, Spider, and I thought that that argument and discussion was retarded. Oh, yeah, of course Bad Empanada is worse than Teuton. Yes, Bad Empanada is one of the worst people in this space. I mean, you didn't really win. All you did was, like, do weird shit where you, like, I listened to that conversation yesterday where it seemed like you were heavily implying that the guy you were talking to was a pedo because that he didn't think that Vosh was one, which is why I hate this conversation. I hate this conversation where it's like, oh my god, this guy looks at Lolly, that means he must be a pedophile. And if he's not, and like if you say, no, I don't think that that's enough to assume someone's a pedophile, and then usually the answer to that is, oh really? You don't think Lolly's that bad? Are you a pedo too? And it's just fucking stupid. Like, I don't really care that much about Lolly. No, it's cartoons. I don't give a fuck. I think that if it's all that you look at, if it's the entirety of your porn consumption, then you're probably a pedophile. I think it's probably fair to say that. You think it's a genocide. Sounds like you like genocide. Yeah, basically. It's like the same kind of argument, and I hate it. Isn't Spider the guy who does propaganda for Loner Box? Yes, Spider. Vosh apparently did DM a 17-year-old based on logs that I saw. Although, to be fair, in that conversation, he was saying weird shit, but he also was like, I'll be able to send you dick pics when you turn 18 or something. So, like, he wasn't even, yeah. I don't know. I just... Ethan unironically made Vosh pro-Assad. Yeah, probably. He probably did. Yes, he did say that to a 17-year-old. Also, you know what? Listen, I'm gonna do it. I don't even care. I fucking hate this notion, the fact that everybody, or I just, I think that like doing stuff with, or sexual stuff with a 17-year-old is less bad than doing sexual stuff with a prepubescent person, like a 12-year-old or whatever. And I feel like people freak out as if these two things have the same gravity. Or like they're like I don't know. It's just, I always loved how the best defense for Vosh is that he is still super creepy. Yes, Vosh is a weirdo. He's a fucking degen. I'm not a pervert, I'm just a creep. Oh no, he's probably a pervert too. Oh yeah, no, I mean it is bad. I just don't think it's as bad as, I don't know. It's just, yes, he is an abiba an abibophile or whatever. Not a, like, yeah, because a pedophile, the actual definition of it is sexual attraction to it's not sexual attraction to minors, it is sexual attraction to prepubescent children, which is not the same thing as like someone who is 17. Brave takes that sex with 12-year-olds is worse than 17-year-olds. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that is a brave take. I feel like everybody would get super fucking mad about that take. Like, I don't know. All the conversations about pedophiles and pedophilia is just fucking cancer that always ends in, oh my God, throw this person in a wood chipper and these people should all be executed or whatever. When the correct answer really is that something needs to, is that like, if you are non-offending, then you need, you need help. Not to be put in a wood chipper. Like, you need therapy. And fostering an environment that will basically keep you from seeking help or therapy is not good. Because then you might actually, rape children, which would be worse. Sorry, the only people who say that I meant. Nobody says abibophiles are pedos and debate. Nobody says abibophiles are pedos and debate perverts. The only people who say that. Yeah, I know. I'm aware. Wait, sorry, Toby. Are you saying that the only people who, yeah, that's what I mean, because it feels like quibbling over the definition of pedophile, are the kinds of people who like, the kinds of people who are just debate bros. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't, listen, I kind of care what words mean, and it bothers me that like, pedo has basically extended to mean any sort of attraction whatsoever to minors. If you're talking about if somebody is a pedo and you pull out a bibophile, you have lost. Yeah, I know. I'm aware that that's how it is. I just think that's stupid. And I wish that was not the case. Zionism used to be called Palestinophiles. Yeah, I think that is funny. But you know what? Fine, whatever. I've given up on that. I understand that the common actual lexicon now is that if you are somebody who has sex with someone who is a minor, or who like tries to groom someone who is a minor, then you are a pedophile. Fine, whatever. But I mean, I don't necessarily think that just because Vosh had DMs with a 17-year-old, it means that where he said sexually suggestive shit to her, that it means that he is absolutely a pedophile. But you're going to send retarded if you will. Actually, it's a bibophile. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm not going to bother doing that. I like rant over. I just think it's annoying. I think the poly stuff was way worse. Yeah, me too. Because he was like actually like sexually harassing that person. Whereas I don't even know any of the details behind all that shit with Vosh and the 17-year-old. And also, it was in like fucking 2017. Like, that was around the same time when he was, like, engaging in all the poly and, what was the other person's name? I can't remember. The stuff with her when he was doing that sexual harassment stuff. So this is stuff from, like, 17 years ago, and it's DMs. Yes, I agree, Spider. Vosh is brain dead. What age was he in 20? He was in his 20s. Poppy. It was Poppy. Poppy was one of the women, and then I don't remember what the other one was called. I don't know what her name was, but yeah, it was like those two people, and those people were both overage. And what happened to what he did to them was, I think, worse because he kept like sexually harassing them. Poppy stuff happened before he was even called Vosh. Also, the gross Israel stuff, like, yeah, he was 23. Wait, he was 23 years old when he was DMing with that 17. Okay, whatever. I don't know. I'm sorry, but I just don't care that much. I feel like this is just it's so arbitrary. It's so arbitrary and stupid. Like if he was like in his 40s and he was doing it, then I'd be like, "Bro, what the fuck? What is wrong with you?" To be fair, I dated a 21-year-old at 16. He was a creep, but not a pedo. Yeah, exactly. There you go. I'm not defending Vosh, the Spider. I'm just saying there's better things that you can like attack Vosh over than shit that happened years ago. And I would rather do that, especially since he has since come out and admitted or like hell, after that Poppy stuff happened, I stopped watching him. I remember when Destiny exposed all that on stream, and then he banned Vosh, and then yeah, and then it was yeah. Yes, Destiny is worse than Vosh for the yeah, because of the Pixie stuff. But we are not talking about, I don't want to talk about that drama, Spider, so please don't. Okay? I have no interest. I don't want to have to delete this stream. What is the Poppy stuff? Vosh like did creepy texting with like where he basically sexually harassed Poppy and another girl in their DMs, where he kept pushing and pushing and like trying to push him like self on them or whatever. And they were not responsive at all, but he still kept doing it. He later admitted that it was sexual harassment. And that was when I started watching him again, after he was like apologetic about that. And then I stopped watching him because he started being crazy and stupid and basically calling for violence against Republicans. Which was, and also being confidently wrong about history in ways that at the time were uncalled for. So Vosh did sexual harassment in DM of a 17-year-old when he was 23. Goddamn. Yeah. Slide me a taco, you know. A taco. I don't even know where this comes from. Also, hold on. Before I go, because I'm going to end stream soon, can someone please explain to me what the meaning is behind the 67 meme? What is this? Everybody's saying it and I don't understand. 6'7". No one knows. Okay, so people are just saying 6'7". Internet meme slang term emerged in 2025. It has no fixed meaning. Oh God. Why? Why are you Zoomers like this? Why can't you guys like have memes that actually have like that mean something? For God's sakes. Well, I don't know what this meme means, so I don't know how to use it. Millennials have their own nonsense memes. Let's be for real. I mean, maybe, I don't know. I can't think of any. We need to remove their phones, I tells you. I mean, listen, Zoomers think that the Star Wars prequels are good. This is enough of a crime for me, okay? Meme also sparked creative variants. Variants, the trend of using arbitrary numbers is slang. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. But you know what? Fine, whatever. So just say 6'7" when someone says 6'7". Sure, why not? I will just do that. I don't know. Um, Perhaps millennials hate the prequels too much. I mean, because they're ashamed they actually enjoyed them as kids. When I first saw The Phantom Menace in the theaters when I was a kid, yeah, I did enjoy it. But like looking back, it wasn't great, and it doesn't stick with me in the same way. Yeah, I'm a millennial, Spider. I don't know if Toby is one or not. Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I did. Like, but the thing was though, is that I guess like it wasn't something that stuck with me in the same way as the original trilogy did, which was one of the staples of my childhood. But yeah, I don't know. I think that they are considerably inferior to the original films. And obviously I have quite a lot of good memories of, because like when I was very young was when I saw the original movies. And yeah, like that was, and plus I never owned any of the the Phantom Menace or any of the other ones. I saw the Phantom Menace in theaters, and then I never actually saw the Clone Wars or Attack of the Clones until later. Like much later. I think I rented it, and when I watched it I didn't think it was that great. Um and then I and then like in and then I eventually sat down and watched Revenge of the Sith. How was my Q&A with Lonerbox? Was it good or what? Yeah, that was a good video, Spider. I enjoyed it. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. The Star Wars is I like the prequels, or not the prequels. I like the originals, and like and Andor is a really good show, and that's probably mostly about it. I'm not really overly fond of a lot of the other stuff. Yeah, I know the Ewoks are the OG Jar Jar Binks, and there were actually a lot of people who didn't like Return of the Jedi because of that. But I thought the Ewoks were fine. It's when Lucas started to commercialize the shit out of Star Wars. True. But Jar Jar Binks is way worse. Yeah, there's like a lot of stupid stuff in there. Anyway, I feel like this was productive for the most part. I have to look through some of this other stuff. I think like we kind of got through one, but I'll look through the rest. And then I don't know, maybe I'll make some kind of a video about it, but just because that I just really want to, like, it's just annoying. I don't care if they were cute gorilla fight. Yeah, I thought the Ewoks were cute too. But you know, and I enjoyed Return of the Jedi. I thought it was a good movie. Obviously, although to be completely I guess stereotypical and unoriginal entirely, like I think Empire Strikes Back was my favorite of the three, and it was also it's up there as one of the best movies ever made, I think. It's a really, really good movie. Um but yeah, I mean, it's a lot of millennials who say that the like me who say that the original trilogy was better. A lot of those people, we say that I think in part because that we mostly grew up with the original trilogy, or it was the one that we saw first. I never saw the Star Wars Holiday Special. Probably good. Yeah, I think when I first saw Rogue One, I didn't really like it that much. But after I watched Andor and then I watched Rogue One again, it was way better the second time, especially like with the context that Andor added to it. And then I also very much liked, and I also appreciated the fact that Rogue One actually provided a like a good they fixed that kind of silly plot hole from the original Star Wars film where there was this weird weakness in the Death Star, and that was actually part of the plot, which I thought was good. Oh yeah, of course the original trilogy has issues, you know, but yeah, I mean, Rogue One was definitely made much better by Andor. Or yeah, like a lot better. Andor was really, really good, but it's also very unlike a lot of the other Star Wars properties, and so was Rogue One as well too. Which is why I liked it, because as an adult, I appreciate more stories with the like that are not just there are more shades of gray stuff rather than just straight up good versus evil or whatever. And I appreciated Andor because everybody was a human, even like the Imperial characters, which was cool. Um, and that yeah, so like that was kind of like a nice thing, and they did a really good job with that. Oh yeah, the CGI updates that they did on the yeah, I have like the despecialized edition copies of the Star Wars movies on my computer. Um which like I appreciated that somebody actually made those. Oh, Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah, I don't think I played that yet. I think I played a bunch of Star Wars games when I was a kid though. Mostly I really enjoyed Dark Forces and then Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. I thought those were really, really good. Um and the Mysteries of the Sith expansion pack from Dark Forces 2 as well. I played all those ones, which was fun. I want to watch Star Wars 77. Oh, you mean the original? Yeah, those were fun games. I should oh, and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter was another one that I had. I also really enjoyed the Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, like the pod racing game. That was fun too. Yeah, I a lot of those a lot of those old games are really good. I should try and track those down. Jedi Fallen Order and Survivors were so good. I love the funny stuff. Yeah, those are newer games that I should probably try playing at some point. I think that those might be fun to check out. But yeah. Uh It's actually really unfortunate that probably October 7th will not be counted as an example of conflict-related sexual violence. Um, just because it's such an ongoing conflict and there is just so much there's been so much work that's been done to like try to just discredit it, which really is unfortunate. I love Pod Racer on my Xbox One. It's like $10, I think. I have oh that's funny that game's still around. Yeah, I could probably get that. Yeah, I know it is. It's stupid. I hate it. It's very, very annoying. Oh, so I don't know that Vanilloven is in chat. Probably not, but I'm just gonna, let's see here. Vanilloven always has adorable cats. Look at that cutie. Van Loven sounds like a Star Wars name. And then there's the other cat. This cat has her tummy is shaved because that she overgrooms. But yeah, she's such a cute void. I love voids. They're so cute. Cats are beautiful. Sounds like an evil SJW character, Moff Vanderloven. Yeah, true. There's my buddy. This is what he likes to do. There's a grayish black cat roaming in my neighborhood. Oh, is there now, Patrick? Are you going to adopt him? Oh! Where is the zap collar? There is no zap collar. We don't do that here. These are Toby's cats. They're so cute. Look at them. What pretty babies. Oh, if you live in a rural area, yeah, maybe Patrick, maybe it could be. I still can't believe it. Yeah, I know. I can't believe that JD Vance actually talked about Hassan Piker. What is this timeline? Stewart Place? No, absolutely not. I would never do that to him. He doesn't even have a collar because he's an indoor cat. And I live in an apartment too. So I'm not like he can't get outside. So he's not microchipped either because he's always indoors. And yeah, like he just doesn't. Sometimes when I take him home with my parents, I'll put him on a leash and let him go outside. But I live in a weird suburb of farming industrial combined area. Nice. You have too many cats? It spots all the way down, or is there too? Oh, you have too many? How many cats do you have? 3? Oh, that's not too bad. Those are rookie numbers. I've known people who have had more. I wish that, I don't know, I think 2 is probably going to be the number that I would settle on, but like sometimes I think it would be nice to get Stuart a friend, but then other times I don't necessarily want, I feel like he wouldn't actually like that very much, so yeah. Pat, it sounds like you live on Coruscant. Is there even Coruscant's literally like a giant city planet, isn't it? A void ginger chonker and a fancy Bengal Savannah cross. Aww. 2 is the best so that they can use their energy against each other. 3 cats is a normal amount. 3 dogs is way too many. Yeah. True. Yeah. I've always had to. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like Stuart is 13 years old now, so but I mean, I'm hoping that he'll live for a long time. The vet said that he's quite healthy, so hopefully he'll live till at least 20 or longer, you know. That would be nice. I love him. I love him so much. I'm not really in a financial place to get him a friend right now anyway. So yeah, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. I need to find a job or start making income. My last cat lived until 17. Oh, that's a nice that's a nice amount of time. Good age. Yeah. Oh, by the way, chat, if you feel sorry for me and the fact that I don't have any money, even though I do have some money, you can donate. There's a link in the description if you want to.
I really just need to hurry up and get monetized, because then I feel like maybe then I can like make money off of like YouTube memberships or whatever. It's just, yeah. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, because I need to get 500 subs at least. Really, I just need to make a video essay or something and get Learner to watch it on stream, or I need to make a or to get like other streamers to watch it. I don't know. I just need to do something like that. How many hours of viewing do you need? It's like, I don't know exactly. Hold on, let me look actually. Um 3,000, and I'm at 834 valid public watch hours right now, which is up quite a bit, so. No, you need 3,000 valid public watch hours. But yeah, I'm getting there. I'm at 800. I'm almost at 1,000. And this data is as of November 4th too, which is not, obviously we're on November 9th, so. And yeah, who knows? I don't know. I just need to actually do more stuff and decide how much time that I want to sink into this. But yeah, on the 20th, I am going to take my Network Plus exam, so that's something else too. Validated is interesting. What could that even mean? Yeah, I don't know. I don't even understand it. I just don't. And yes, I am also halfway to 500 now, which is nice. Thank you guys for subscribing. I think I probably need to expand my audience too. Like, I need to go on Hutch's stream and talk to him. And I actually do have something I want to talk to him about. I just don't want to go in there. I'm not just talking about going in there and shamelessly promoting myself or whatever. Oh, oh, look at the baby. So cute. What an adorable face. That's monthly. You need to get 3,000 hours every month. Well, she's such a sleepy baby. I mean, it says, no, you need 4,000 valid public watch hours and this counts the last 365 days. So it's not monthly. There's not like, you don't have to maintain a certain thing or else you lose. Like, once you're monetized, unless YouTube takes it away for some reason. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that Hutch maybe concedes too much to the left people when he talks about Israel Palestine, when he talks about how Biden should have definitely done more. I feel like he's like maybe conceding a bit too much there. I think that realistically speaking, yeah, I guess like Biden could have done a little bit more, but he did quite a lot. And a lot of the people who say that, they say that because they think that, like, anybody who thinks that Biden should have stopped the war in November is just saying that because they felt like Israel had no right to or should not have responded to October 7th. It used to be monthly. Wow, that sounds insane. I'll put it this way. There's an intersection in the area with 3 crop fields and 3 sets of warehouses and light industry, the large tracts of suburban housing. Oh yeah, I mean, there's probably like stray cats and stuff. Yeah. But you know. Oh my god. Ash like was replying to comments on my VOD, or he replied to a comment. That's funny.
All right, guys. It's not as goofy as the fields next to the hospital apartments with the guy you were talking to last night. It was the night before last night, I think, wasn't it? It was on Friday night, I think. Yeah, yeah. Ash of Creativity or Gelatinous Rube, yes. Yeah, he kind of was. I feel like I should have done better, at least in part of that debate, and I probably shouldn't have made it about immigration because because I was not really like equipped to have that conversation. But I mean, then again, in fairness, a lot of that was me being unprepared for the arguments that he was going to make, and most of his arguments were feels based. Like, I don't think that he could present me with data that proved that Omar Fatah lost the Minneapolis mayoral election because that other Somalis voted against him because he was the wrong kind of Somali, and like I don't think he could provide me evidence that Indian people are like come to America and then continue to enact the caste system in their own like little communities. But even if they do, like Zonia was there and she correctly pointed out that Indian people like are like they that like second and third generation like the kids of Indian immigrants are they don't do that shit anyway because that they have been integrated into the United States. And so like at that point it's like whatever, like I don't, why do you even care? That guy was just trying to piss everyone off. Yeah, I mean I think that he was like there were definitely points where he was doing that. Like he was obviously a rage baiter. And that was his whole goal. He doesn't believe it, he just knows his audience will. I don't know what like yeah, but I don't even know how much of an audience he has, to be fair. I mean, we are both probably very small streamers. It's very rich Indians who go to America, so one cast. I mean, that's also probably true. But then like he kind of denied that that was probably a thing. I don't know. A lot of his like at one point he even told me that he thought data didn't matter. And that all he cared about was like what he saw with his, but I very much doubt that he has actually seen personally evidence that like immigrants are racist. Or like that they've been specifically racist, or maybe they have, I don't know. Or racist in the way that he described, rather. Because obviously, yeah, there are some immigrants that are racist, or some immigrant populations that are. Like some Hispanics are racist against other Hispanics. And that's a thing that happens. But it's just, I don't know, it's very annoying and stupid. And I don't think that that's a good enough reason to not allow immigrants to come to the United States. If you're worried about ethnic enclaves forming, then there are policies that you can enact to stop that from happening. You don't need to say no more immigration. He said he didn't want to give any evidence and that he has none, and that he was doing risk assessment, which didn't need evidence, which is just untrue. Yeah, I don't know. It was just stupid. Like he didn't care about any sort of empiricism. Oh, Spider likes to call everything DEI ass. It's a thing that he does. And he likes to refer to every single cat as DEI. Only Spider could make fun of a face like that. Yeah, look at this cat. This cat's adorable. Like, what a cute face. All right, it is 5 o'clock. I, for one, like the cat. He started saying that because of my profile pic. DEI has cat typical. Oh, Mochi is your profile. Oh, this cat? This cat's your profile? Oh, okay, that's cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping by my boring ass research stream. That was only kind of a research stream where I really did not accomplish much. But at least I sort of got some things, and so that's cool. So maybe I'll like broaden this out. And I'll actually go study for Network Plus now and shit. So yeah. Yep. Have a good night, guys. You're welcome. Bye.